live here at the Station of Decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by horror illustrator Steve McGinnis. It's very cool to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and thanks to our mutual friend Kat for getting this set up.
Indeed, yeah, she's great, eh?
Yeah, before we went live, you asked me how I knew Kat. I don't really even remember. But how do you know Kat?
We've been working on projects together. With some of the films she's done, I've created some artwork for them, and she's working on a project that I've been working on for a while. This book I created, Rise of the Harvester, and she's been working like pretty heavily on that. So, yeah, that's how I know Kat.
Yeah. So, when I say horror illustrator, like that encompasses a lot because you've got like original art, you've got the comic books. Like, so what was like the first project like that you got into?
Man, I've been drawing since I was a little kid, but around 07, 08, I kind of broke out on my own, and I was asked to illustrate a poster for the reunion of the original Texas Chainsaw Group for a convention in the Falls. So I illustrated that, and they said, "Hey, come on down, do some more horror art, and we'll give you a booth and such." And yeah, it just took off from there.
So before that, like you just had your stuff. Like how did they find you?
Through mutual friends. I was always doing artwork, and that was pretty much my job as well. And they knew I loved horror, so they said, "Hey, yeah, we got this guy Steve. He'd be happy to do something like that." So yeah, and then all of a sudden now it's become my job.
Yeah, and you said you've been drawing since you were a kid. So were you always drawing horror stuff?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you look back at all my sketches and everything, it started young with like Godzilla and King Kong, and then like worked its way up.
And were your parents were they cool with you watching horror movies as a kid?
Oh no, not at all. I had to sneak down at night and like put on like city TV and like watch like the movies I shouldn't have been watching, and then not sleep for a week after.
So what were some of the first characters that really like captured your imagination?
Oh wow! I used to really love the Wolfman.
I'm a big fan.
Man, huge fan of the Wolfman. And basically, from there, I went obviously into the '80s onto like Jason and everything. Like, you know, that mask is iconic.
Yeah,
yeah.
What I liked when I was looking at a lot of your stuff is so first you bring up Wolfman, Jason, and there are some people. Especially online, they're like, "There's been no good horror movie since the '80s," but you do a lot of modern stuff too, like Art the Clown and stuff, and I like that because I think there's great horror stuff in every generation.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you know what? Like, pretty much every era, you can find really good gems of horror.
Yeah, and terrible stuff, but some of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a whole lot of terrible stuff, but there's always a few gems in there. Like, you know, I think with Terrifier, it's bringing back the slasher genre. I really hope so.
Yeah, it feels. I always said this about Terrifier on the show. It's like an '80s slasher film if they didn't have to worry about the censorship.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was. So I'm not taking credit for the success of Terrifier, but I had a lot of them on the show before it blew up. And then like to see it just really like take off huge was like, it was really cool because they were all good people. And I just thought the movie was awesome.
Yeah, it was, you know what? It's completely fueled by the fans. Like, it's unbelievable. You could watch it grow. Like after Terrifier, you'd see like maybe a couple cosplay of art. And then when Terrifier 2 buzz started going, you'd see a few more arts and, you know, Dawns and everyone. And then boom, after T2, it just exploded.
Yeah, and that was so big. You know, no one expected it to even get a theatrical run, and then it's like it's going to play like a day or two or whatever, and then it just kept going. And
oh man,
how much do you think that's helped independent horror movies? Because since then, like other things that probably wouldn't get like a theatrical release have.
Yeah, I think it's really helped because, you know what, studios were so hesitant to give horror a good run, even now. And for someone like Damien to take a small film like that and then make that much from it, I think it turned a lot of heads. And I think a lot of people are saying, wow, there's a huge audience here. with unique stories. We don't have to keep rehashing these old movies. Like, these are brand new stories.
Yeah. Like we all love all this stuff, but it's like, how many do we need like endless reboots of the same?
Exactly.
It was fun also seeing it in the theater, because it was like there were some people like us who were into this crazy stuff, but they're like a regular audience that probably like they're thinking they're just seeing like a regular old horror movie that plays every week, and like you could actually see people leaving, which was kind of was a fun experience, because they didn't know what they were in for.
Oh no, especially that bedroom scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
It just kept going and going.
I know, right? And then he comes back with the salt and the bleach, and oh man.
For people who don't know, you do the graphic novel for Terrifier.
I do. And do you remember the Funhouse in T2?
Yes.
Yeah, I made that.
Oh, you did? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was actually a miniature, probably about 3 foot by 2 foot. Yeah. But yeah, I do the graphic novel of Terrifier.
So how did you get involved in that?
Years ago, after Terrifier came out, wow, it was this long ago. Remember Walking Dead when Negan killed Glenn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just for a joke, I did a Scooby-Doo crossover of Negan killing Daphne, and it went viral. I did the exact scene, but I did the whole gang. It went viral. And I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. So then I did a Terrifier one. And Damien reached out to me. He's like, hey, that's pretty fun. And so we kept in contact, and he liked my art. And he knew I was doing graphic novels. And he's like, you want to do a graphic novel of Terrifier? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And that's how it started.
That's pretty wild. And then how did it go to like you actually working on the movie, making something for the sequel?
Basically, it seemed like at the time I was kind of the go-to art guy. If they needed like stuff for the t-shirts in the film or whatever, I'd get this frantic text that, hey, I need like a black and white shot of art, look like it's spray bomb. Can you do this like really quick and everything? And yeah, that's how it came about. It was especially with that miniature one. I only had like a few days to do it and get it to them.
We're talking about like it did so well at the theater, but people have to still realize there still are independent films. They're not like these, they're not, $5 million budgeted movies.
Oh no, I think what'd they make it with? 150?
Yeah, which is more than some people are making, but still very small compared to most movies that are going to be at the theater. Usually, like people use the term, oh, it only cost $10 million and it made whatever, and it's like, well,
yeah,
that's still pretty good. So, do you not that we want spoilers, but do you have any inside knowledge on Terrifier 3?
I don't actually. They kind of moved ahead, kept it really tight. I have no knowledge of T3.
That's probably more fun for you to go into as well.
Yeah,
not knowing anything.
Exactly.
Did you know any? Well, you did the scene for Terrifier 2, but did you know much more about it at the time?
No, I knew nothing of the bedroom scene, anything like that.
Co says he just mentioned the Glenn thing on another show the other day, but I'm not like I actually like The Walking Dead, and I thought it got better when they had Negan on the show.
Oh, Negan was great, and I read all the graphic novels beforehand, so I was like anticipating him coming up, and I'm like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I always thought the show is at its best when they stuck more to the comic book, because like the Negan stuff is very similar.
Yeah,
and he really captured the movements and everything.
Oh man, he must have like really dived into the character, because the posture, everything, the way he delivered the lines, yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, he nailed it. And I haven't watched the spin-offs yet, but I'll probably check them out at some point.
I've tried. Yeah, it's kind of Negan light now, so
yeah. Not to spoil the comic book for anyone read him, but I thought his send-off in the comic was perfect.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a stretch to have him like become like a good guy.
I know they took away his claws. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, and the idea that like after she saw Negan destroy like her the father of children's like, hey, like you can never like just like buddy up with the guy. Like
No.
that's too much.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I know. I'm always waiting for that knife to go in his back from Maggie.
Yeah. So you have I don't know. Did I ask for? I think I asked for the shirt before you went live. But can you show the shirt that you're wearing?
Yeah.
So we have Art, Jason. We got Leatherface, Pinhead. Yeah.
Pinhead. Just some art that I created for the Frightmare in the Falls a couple of years ago. And so yeah, they had all the artwork put on shirts for people going there and such.
Were you a comic book guy too, like as a kid?
Yes, oh definitely. Huge comic book kid.
So isn't my brother here, Terrible Troy, has joined us.
Good day.
How we doing?
Good. How you doing?
Great, thanks.
So Troy, he was big in the EC comics when we were kids. So what
nice.
What kind of like horror comics? Well, what kind of comics in general were you into?
From a kid, I jumped all over the place. I was big into when Kelly Jones would do Batman and Swamp Thing. Huge Punisher fan. Always like grab Punisher. Anything illustrated by Tex. Like when Tex illustrated that Sabretooth run and like everything. If I saw his cover art, I just grab it. And I kind of jumped all over.
There weren't a ton of horror comics in the past, but
no. Nightbreed. I remember I collected Nightbreed when that was there.
Oh, okay, yeah, from the Clive Barker.
Yeah. That had some really cool art in it.
So, like, when you're doing the Terrifier comic, like, since the movies are so graphic, you just have like free reign to like.
To a point. They still want to follow the direct storyline. But I have like a little more free reign with like the gore and the blood. Like when I got to the hacksaw scene, I stretched that out a few pages and had like the liver coming out and like all sorts of stuff pouring out of her and everything. Like I can play with that. Yeah.
So I also saw on your website that you do children's art too, which I think is cool. That you're well-rounded.
Yeah, I do that as well.
So
it's not nearly as fun.
Right, but it's cool to think that maybe the kids looking at your stuff now, maybe in the future they'll still like, hey, I like that guy. Let me check out this Terrifying comic.
Exactly.
And I think Troy's on some technical difficulties. Rise of the Harvester, you had mentioned briefly earlier. If you want to give people an idea of what that is.
Yeah, that was probably from about 9 years ago. I was coming up with a slasher idea. I love slashers, so I was illustrating my own. And my wife and I were doing the con circuit. I was showing off my art, and I remember Kane Hodder was at one of the shows we were at, and people were coming in. This is before the days of like the heavy security and checking. People were coming in to look at my portfolio and laying down like actual machetes and axes they were bringing in for Kane to sign, right?
Yeah.
And my wife and I are talking. I'm like, wow, what if someone like, because it's a confined area and there's a lot of people in there. I said, what if someone like wigged out and just started chopping in here? Like, what do you think the kill count would be? Like, and most people would just stand there with their phones recording it, thinking it's cosplay at first. And I thought, wow, that'd be a cool like scenario to drop a slasher into. Like, it's a huge kill count. And so I kind of ran with that and threw a slasher in the middle of a con.
I love
a horror con. And,
I need to read this. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, because everyone at first thinks he's just a big, dumb cosplayer. And ends up regretting it. And yeah, so that's where that came from. Because I thought there's no way people would start running at first. Everyone would be recording it.
Oh, 100%. Like, oh wow, man, I can look at the effects that guy made.
Exactly.
If you're at conventions, I mean, some of the cosplayers, I've even mentioned to some, I was like, you guys should like get involved with like an independent filmmaker. Maybe they have a cool idea. Like, you guys make like amazing stuff. Right.
Some of that cosplay is amazing. Like, it's like they walked right out of the pages.
Yeah. So yeah, that totally works. And do you ever use any of like, so you mentioned like Kane Hodder, do you use any of the real life people? Like, are they ever like portrayed in these?
No, I don't like
I know you probably have
lawsuits.
to get there. Right. You have to get there. Yeah.
I kind of dance around it. So yeah.
That would be fun, though. I'm sure someone would be. I'm sure actually a lot of them would be cool with appearing in it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I would
I
look
try
into
and
that.
stay away from anything that'll get lawyers at my door.
Sure, I understand. I understand. Yeah, it's one thing if you just like. I know a lot of people make art and have it at the show, but like if you're actually producing like issues of it, you probably don't want to
Yeah.
start throwing folks in there.
Yeah,
And,
that could get a little scary.
And where can people get Rise of the Harvester?
You can go to Steve McGinnis Horror Illustration, or even on Facebook, there's the Rise of Harvester page, and you can order it directly through me. Even on my website, I have all 3 books, and you can just order directly through there.
Is that the whole run? 3 books?
Yeah, yeah.
And would you ever be interested if someone's like, hey, I would like to make this into a movie?
Oh, 100%. That's what I'm working on with Kat right now. We had a filmmaker, Ryan Andrews, who I worked with previously doing artwork for. Really good filmmaker, writer. He wrote the script for Rise of the Harvester. So we kind of combined book 1 and 2 to put him in that scenario of the Comic-Con, to have the massive slaughter at a con.
I love that idea. And that would be the perfect thing then to try to get a few people in as cameos, I think.
Oh, for sure. Have them as guests there and like getting chopped or throwing people to the killer so they can get out,
Yeah. And that's, if you could not to get ahead of yourself, but if you could team up with a festival that would let you film some stuff there anyway to really capture the look, because it would probably be hard to like recreate a convention.
Oh man, the cost would be astronomical. You'd have to hook up with like Frightmare in the Falls or something, and then after hours keep people back to do filming, and then bam, get it done.
Yeah. And I don't want to make the interview about me, but my feature film that we just finished, our festival run, we filmed it at a convention.
Oh,
so
nice.
It was very hectic. It's a mockumentary. No one's getting chopped up or anything, but it's about 2 older actors who both take credit for the same slasher film, End Zone 2, and then they're booked at a convention in the present day.
Oh,
so we
nice.
filmed that all at Mad Monster Party.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which maybe that's how I know Kat, because Kat is is part of the crowdfunding for that.
Oh, very cool.
But yeah, Rise of the Harvester. I like this idea, and I honestly think that, and not only would that be a cool movie, like it's got a lot of crossover appeal. Like horror people would love it. It would play really well at conventions,
and it's done really well with like the cult like horror community. It's just, I've had cosplayers come into my booth dressed as a harvester.
Oh, nice! That's like a meta, like.
Oh man, it blows my mind. Every time I see one, I'm like, whoa.
So you said you weren't allowed to watch like horror movies, or you weren't supposed to. Once you started like drawings and stuff, and now that you're really involved, like what does your family think of that?
My family, well, my wife and son, they don't really watch horror. My son's dipping his toe in. He's been watching the Saw series. But
that's a pretty big first step, though. So
that's pretty gory.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't mind. They think it's a bit twisted, some of the stuff I have to do, but other than that, they're pretty cool with it.
Yeah, I see the Elvira behind your head there. That's pretty great.
Yeah, that's a new commission. I'm just finishing that one up.
Oh wow, it's great. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a brand new commission.
Where I assume on the website where people could do commissions.
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Insta. I'm always posting new stuff.
Have you done like many like poster arts for like indie movies or anything like that?
Oh yeah, a lot of indie horror art. Like for posters, a lot. Goodness, I'm just trying to think. The Ice Cream Man. I did the VHS poster for Terrifier 1. Like the first Terrifier.
Oh, really? I actually was not aware of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's I've done a bunch of posters.
Oh, that's wild. So how many VHS have you done? Because that must be cool. Someone who grew up watching horror films and then like
only that one.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, and they wanted it kind of like that 80s kind of like cheesy looking VHS cover that would grab you. You know what I mean? So Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because that's become a thing. Like they put out, limited edition VHS.
Yeah,
I have a couple. I don't have a working VCR, but I just like the VHS to put on your bookshelf.
exactly.
Because I might. This is up here. It's kind of hidden, but it's Creep Show is the first VHS that my mom bought me when I was a kid.
Nice.
Show.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I would think maybe that would be more of a gateway for like a younger kid. Would be Creep Show because it's comedic and you're going right to Saw. I don't know.
I know. Maybe I should be concerned.
I don't know where you go from there. You're like, watch this Serbian film or something. But
exactly. Everything else after that would seem like almost comedic after Saw.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good way to go. So, of course, we've been talking about Terrifier, but what are some of your other favorite modern horror films?
Modern horror, Autopsy of Jane Doe. Yeah, love that.
It's especially if anyone out there, if you don't know much about it and you go in like pretty much blind to the what it's about, like I did, and that's how the best way to go into most movies. But I really didn't know what was happening, and it really it kept you interested the whole time.
Oh, for sure. I went into it blind, and wow, what a movie! Because I love paranormal stuff, and that just blew my mind. I like Autopsy of Jane Doe, Train to Busan.
Oh, that's a great one too. That's one of my brother's favorites.
Yeah, that's so good. La Horde, that French one. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think I've seen that.
Really good. It's probably about 9 or 10 years old now. Really good. French take on a zombie apocalypse, kind of.
I grew up a huge zombie guy, and then there was so much zombie stuff after a while. It's like you get a little sick of it. But if someone finds a new way to do something, it's still like Train to Busan or something.
Yeah. Train to Busan. Wow, that was unbelievable.
Yeah. The my brother really I think it's the prequel. It's an animated one. I've not seen it, but he's always talking about it. He really likes it.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because I know they did the sequel, which is a little more action-y than the first one. But I've not seen the animated prequel, but my brother always says it's great.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. And so zombies, what would be your favorite zombie movie?
Ooh, wow, probably Train to Busan or La Horde. Those two are really good.
I'll have to check out La Horde then.
Yeah.
So I always go to the original Dawn of the Dead. It's like my go-to, but Train to Busan's great.
Yeah, check out La Horde. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And for years on the show, I was always saying this graphic novel that I get every, I would get the collection of the graphic novels, Walking Dead. It would make a great series. And then, I never got a cut from it happening.
You're still waiting for that check.
Yeah. Well, I was right, though. I was right, I guess. So who are some of the artists that inspired you?
Oh, wow. Kelly Jones, like I mentioned, loved his dark style. Tex, obviously. Frank Miller. Miller was a big one on me. Then later on, I would say, probably Barker, his really wild, surreal style that he did. When you look at some of the Cenobites that he painted and everything, and Fereza, obviously, growing up, I was a big fan of Conan, especially the big thicker books and everything that he would paint. Oh man. Yeah, they would definitely be my influences.
So my brother's older, and I remember, so as a kid, he would get me stuff, and he'd get me it was the Frankenstein novel, but it was Bernie Wrightson did the illustration. Yeah. It was so amazing.
There is no one else like Bernie. He wow, you look at his cross hatching and line work, it is just unbelievable.
Yeah, because the laboratory for Frank, it's not just the monster and the doctor. The whole lab is done so
right. You could look at that page and find something new every time. It's unbelievable what he did.
When you said Clive Barker, we were at Texas Frightmare once, and they had a collection of his original art there, and it was called the Dark Arts, and that was crazy, some really crazy stuff. But it was wild to look at.
Oh yeah, he can get some pretty dark stuff, eh?
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual stuff that's your kid probably shouldn't be checking out.
No.
Maybe a little bit after you go through all the Saw movies, but well, you obviously have Hellraiser. What Pinhead there, but who would be your favorite Cenobite outside of Pinhead?
Wow, I really like Chatter.
Yeah,
He is so creepy, eh?
Yeah.
Even in the new one, he was super creepy.
Yeah, I think this in part 2 it's still cool, but part 1 when he has like no eyes, there's something about that.
I know, right? And the teeth just kind of always clicking. Oh, nasty.
I was hoping you weren't going to say like the guy with like the laser discs in his head.
Oh man, isn't that 3?
Yeah,
like the one guy with the camera and the tripod in his head.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with the with the
wow,
Cenobites in that one.
that was so bad.
Yeah, it's got a great scene with Pinhead, in the church, but the Cenobites were not.
Yeah, if we could forget the rest of it and just go with that church scene, that'd be great.
Yeah, if they ever, if they ever do a reboot, it's like let's just reboot it from this scene.
Yeah,
just make a movie around this. Yeah, and we could go from there. So, are you doing any other comic books? You said you had the 3 books from Rise of the Harvester.
Yeah, I've been working on another one. I can't really mention right now, but then I'm working on a 4th Harvester one very soon. I'm already about 10 pages in. So,
oh, cool. So that will continue then.
Exactly.
And will there be a Terrifier 3 comic?
I hope so. I guess I got to do the Terrifier 2 one if they need it done. The first one was 3 books. Mm-hmm. And the 3rd book hasn't even come out yet. Everyone keeps asking for that one. I'm still waiting for it. So I think they're just working steadily on Terrifier 3 post-production, and I guess they'll get to it.
Yeah. It's just it is a small group of people making these like movies that everyone is into. So have you? I know you've drawn her. So will we see the pale girl in the comic if you get to that?
Oh yeah. I'd love to draw her more. Yeah. She's such a creepy character.
Oh
right?
Man. Because art's like, I think that's a modern iconic. Because you talk about Jason and all these ones we grew up with, and for modern day there hasn't been too many. Like in the 2000s, I'd say, but art is definitely in there. And then you had the pale girl, and it's like she's like I don't say as cool as art, but she's up there.
Oh yeah, for sure. That introduction of her in the laundromat, wow.
Talking about the pale girl from Terrifier 2.
Oh yeah,
just so creepy, eh?
Without a doubt.
I know.
Coast wants to know what's your typical page per day workflow and why?
It would have to depend. Like if it's a 9-panel page, that's a long day. I try and get a couple pages done a day, and I try and really grind them too. Like if there's a splash page in there, I can move a little quicker, like get the whole page done, and then just jump on to the next panels and just grind it out, because I not only do the penciling, I'm doing the inking and the full coloring and lettering and everything for Terrifier.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I'm kind of wearing all the hats on that one.
Yeah. Did you write Rise of the Harvester?
Yeah.
So I know you can't talk about too much about it, but I assume, are you writing the script for the movie or like?
No, our Cat and I's mutual friend Ryan Andrews wrote the whole script,
and it's pretty much the same as the books, or
pretty close. He added some really good characters in there, because mostly the first book we're following pretty much the Harvester through his daily travels, and we get into some of his background of like what made him him. And then it leads into book 2, which is the Comic-Con where the giant slaughter happens. So he had to add some characters of interest in there to keep the story flowing.
Yeah. So when did you start to pursue like your art as like from just like a hobby? This is what I'm doing. I like doing this, and this is like, oh, this is something like I can do.
I always wanted to be an artist. I was that kind of weird kid that would come home after school, just go right to my room, put on a record and draw. And I just constantly drew. If there was a piece of paper around, even now, if there's like a blank piece of paper around, there's like doodlings on it, drawings like, and yeah, once I was done school, I went off to fine arts and then graphic arts and then back for digital arts. And yeah, it's always been about art for me.
Who would be some of the like the underrated characters? Like, you know, nothing against art and all these people, but what are some, like, you know, this guy doesn't get enough credit or this girl doesn't get enough credit?
Leslie Vernon.
Oh,
Leslie
that's
Vernon
a really good one.
Doesn't get enough credit. That is such a good movie.
Yeah.
That's in my top 5 of like horror slasher movies, and it does not get enough credit.
And it's before its time.
Oh,
it was kind of before like the idea of like kind of the meta, like you know, talking about like the whole franchise within the movie.
Right. They break the fourth wall, and like it's unbelievable. That movie was great.
Yeah, and it they never did a sequel to that. I think they always wanted to, but for some reason they never did.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't.
Every couple of years you hear rumblings about it, and then it just dies away.
Yeah, we had the guy who played him on the show, and he talked about like it always would come up, kind of like we just said. Every couple of years, you know, someone has an idea or something, and for whatever reason, it never happens.
Right, I know, it's so good. That could be like a money-making franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, I've seen cosplay of as Leslie Vernon, which always makes it. I love seeing any of them, but when it is like a smaller character, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, because you know, like they must really love that character.
Yeah, because you see a million Jasons and Michael Myers at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can almost all battle each other. Like a quartet of Michael Myers. But, you know, I guess they could be the Michael Myers from different films, because there are different. Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
There's like a 7-foot tall one from the Rob Zombie.
Oh yeah, the Taylor Maine one. Yeah, that would be scary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Maine's a good guy too.
He is. He's such a good guy.
Super good. Yeah.
Remember him when he was WCW with Kevin Nash?
Yeah. He was Big Sky.
Big Sky. Yeah.
I'm a big Troy and I are big wrestling fans.
Same here. I'm a huge wrestling fan. That's who else I do artwork for is Cornette.
Oh really?
Oh, nice.
You do like the thumbnails?
Yeah. If Travis gets like too many, I'll jump in and do some, and then I do the Arcadian Vanguard artwork for them too. So yeah, huge wrestling fan.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
one of my favorite things is I have a picture with Jim Cornette with a shirt that I had done the drawing of him and the Midnight Express on.
Oh, and, no way!
Yeah, it was really, really big. Yeah,
he
was all like crazy about it and stuff. You know, he gets all excited, so it's always good.
He's a good guy. Corny's such a cool guy.
So, well, now you brought up, who are some of your favorite wrestlers?
Oh wow! I gotta say, growing up, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart.
Neal's fave.
Nice, yeah. Piper, Hart. Always loved Macho Man. Like even King Macho, everything. Like growing up, I love the Macho Man. Jake the Snake, of course. And then as we move along, I used to love Demolition. Demolition was like, like remember that big finisher decapitator they do off the top rope?
No one never does that since. You got the guy on the over the knee, and the guy and the other guy drops.
Maybe it's kind of dangerous because it's a badass
probably
move. So,
yeah.
I know. I don't think anyone wanted to take that move.
No, probably not.
Like FTR does a lot of people. They do like the superplex with the splash, which I always thought was really cool that the Power and Glory used to do. But I don't think I see anyone ever doing the demolition finish.
No, I've heard a lot of people did not like taking that move because I don't think you can.
That's probably true.
Yeah, how would you stop that?
Sometimes the coolest moves were like that. It was, just like, nobody wants to.
Well, LOD hurt a lot of people with their.
God,
they would do it 2 different ways. I think one way is a little safer, and then the other way where Animal would just flip the guy, and that wasn't safe. So
if they didn't like you, they just flipped you that way.
And I think they worked pretty stiff too. Like they were,
And I'm glad you said Demolition, because I think some people look at Demolition, they were Road Warrior, rip-off stuff, but they're actually, I get the face paint, but like completely different.
Oh yeah, 100%. Remember when they came in with Mr. Fuji and they were like super heels and like just destroyed everyone.
Yeah, it's a great double. It's one of the Survivor Series when they do the big double turn and they become the baby
that's right. I
faces.
forgot about that.
The Powers of Pain go with Mr. Fuji.
Yeah. And then they introduced Axe and everything. Not Axe, Crush. They brought in Crush because Axe had that heart condition.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, and the Demolition, the original two, like they do conventions now together. And
I bumped into them about 6 years ago, and I didn't realize how massive they were in real life. Like even now, they are giant, man.
Yeah, that happens a lot when I meet the rest. I knew like Razor Ramon Scott Hall's a big guy, but I think it's because he was always next to like Kevin Nash. You don't realize he's like a giant on his own.
Yeah, what is he like 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
Yeah. He was a great blocking out the sun kind of guy.
No kidding.
One of my favorite. Neil might have the picture, but he was hosting a panel of like the men behind the masks, and it was Tyler Maine and Brian Steele. I forget a bunch of other creature guys.
Was it? I mentioned the Andrew
Mears.
Bernarski one, but this was the second one where everyone was nice. It was Derek Mears and Kane Hodder were the other two guys.
Nice.
And Neil's in the land of the giants. He goes up to like
I'm 5'5"
chest on all these guys, and there are all these giants around him.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, like I'm 5'11", and I wasn't even big enough to be their manager when I went up to Demolition. Like it's like, holy cow, you guys are like trees.
Oh yeah, yep.
I like that. There does seem to be a big crossover with horror fans and wrestling fans.
Oh yeah, well they're like living comic book characters, right? Like they're and we have our villains and we have our good guys, and like it's awesome.
I'm not sure what this means. How do you feel about Gary and his demons? You guys sound Canadian. We're not Canadian, but
I'm Canadian. But
I'm not. So all right. Well, Steve is Canadian.
Yeah, I'm a Canuck.
All right. I should have known that. With I'm not sure what Gary and his demons are.
I'm not sure. I have not met or heard of Gary or his demons.
Yeah, and he's saying it should be huge, so I don't know. We'll have to look into Gary and his demons. So.
It could be a very isolated part of Canada, maybe that Gary and his demons reside in.
Yeah, maybe it's just a guy he knows. He's like,
just some guy with a bunch of demons. You know?
He's battling his demons, or Gary. Then I don't know. But.
We feel for you, Gary.
Yeah. This is not. We don't recommend this coast. He did the Doomsday device on someone in high school.
Oh no!
Probably not
Man.
good. Yeah.
I think everyone's done those moves when we were kids, Like, I remember doing them to friends into pools and having them done to me.
Yeah.
And oh man.
Yeah, I used to do the backyard wrestling, but not what now. When you say that, people think like you're hitting each other with like light tubes and stuff. But it wasn't. We were really actually trying to do the move, trying to figure out. Yeah, we were trying to figure out how to do the moves so we weren't hurting each other like they were actually doing them.
Exactly, they're crazy. Those mud shows in the backyards now. Good lord.
Yeah. No thanks.
No.
Yeah. Let's see here. Thanks for Canadian cartoon. Oh, it's a cartoon.
Oh wow.
No, I haven't heard of it.
I did not know that. I should probably check into that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Do you have any favorite horror cartoons?
Ooh, horror cartoons. Hellsing. That was a really good one. It was an anime one. Vampire go around hunting other vampires, but he was hired by the Vatican and stuff. Really good.
Oh,
I've not seen that.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that one.
It's awesome.
Have you ever tried doing any animation?
Just very minor animation. Just doing silly things to poke fun at friends and stuff like that. No, I haven't done any any serious animation. It takes a lot of time.
Yes, very, very time consuming.
I've
done 8-bit animation, and that's very
really
consuming. But yeah.
I used to do animation with Flash, where you could onion skin and like illustrate over top of the other one, and just move the arms slightly so you get a really smooth transition before you tween it. And that was really fun. But as we know now, Flash is the way of the dodo. So yeah.
Yeah, you can a program I use for the 8-bit animation. You can one of the things is you can do the onion skin.
Yeah,
But
that's
with
nice,
that,
though.
you want a little bit of clunkiness, so it looks like the 8s because it's more like NES style, like
Oh, nice.
8-bit Nintendo. Yeah, it's fun. It's not particularly great, but I like it. Sorry, I'm late. Watching the latest Uncle How. Oh, we got more wrestling fans.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, Uncle Howdy, Bray's brother.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that.
I agree 100% because it's like you're going to do like someone else, like your version of what you think he would want to do.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's my take on Bray. I think he was super creative. He probably should have been putting creative, with his storylines and everything, but it just didn't feel like he didn't seem scary to me. He had great big giant guys like Eric Rowan and like Braun and everyone. They should have been wearing the mask and being the scary guy because he was just kind of a little chubby guy, and like it's not very scary when you got this 7-foot tall monster behind you.
I really like the original Wyatt's run. I can't say I really like the Fiend stuff. I did.
No, how do you book that? Like, how would you book the Fiend? Because
just
anyone who goes against him is going to lose. You know what I mean? Like, you can't beat the Fiend, so who wants to go against him?
Yeah, like the. I know it was during COVID and everything, but the match with him and you can't.
The Rollins.
John Cena. Where it's like
God.
all into I'm like, this is just not for me.
That was weird, eh?
Yeah. It's like I like weird stuff, but it was like this, I don't know. It's not even really a match anymore.
No.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of takes you out of it that way.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was kind of like that AJ Taker one. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a weird one.
The same show. Yeah, that was night 1 and the other one was night 2 or vice versa.
That was really odd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like those crazy ones from the Hardy Brothers place where they shoot fireworks at each other and things like that. I was amused and I was like weirded out at the same time.
Yeah.
Wasn't he Brother Nero at that point?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably worked better for them.
I knew it was you, Brother Nero.
He's great as Broken Matt Hardy. Oh my God.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why he stopped doing it because it's like it was over. I think it at his age it like protects him. He doesn't have to do as many bumps and stuff. So.
Yeah. I don't think he was allowed to do it. When he first went to AEW, I don't think he had the right to do Broken Matt Hardy. I think it was a TNA.
He was doing I think that's when he went back to WWE, but then he somehow got the rights. And they were doing it a little bit in AEW to start, but it was during the COVID, so there was no crowd. So I think it was like it was just odd because you don't have the people to interact.
That's right, because Sammy was showing up at like the compound and he ran him over.
Yeah, they did a little bit with
a bunch of other crazy shit. Yeah.
Oh, the booking at AEW has been dreadful too. So don't even get me going on that.
Well, I'm glad that you're a wrestling fan, though.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can get a demolition. Well, we don't want to. I'm sure WWE, especially, you don't want to start drawing their characters in a comic book.
Oh God,
you're gonna.
Man, they'd be taking everything from me.
Yeah, they're very litigious.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I do a wrestling podcast, and they actually so it's really silly because it was like, it was Mo for Men on a Mission, and like I had the banner Mo for Men on, and like I had to add formerly known and like put his real name. And I'm like,
oh no,
get out of here!
Do you really care about Mo? He was a nice guest, but I'm like, is this really like that big of a deal to the WWE? Like,
whoa, really?
Yeah, and I wasn't selling it either. It was just
they're gonna go out of business if you use that band.
Wow.
Okay, so formerly known as Mo from Men on him. Maybe there was some history there that I don't know about from Mo or something. I don't know. It was very odd. It was very odd.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
that's crazy. If they go after you for Mo, Man,
Yeah,
imagine
I
if you
know.
had someone else on. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
So
if
don't
you had
be
like
like,
an Undertaker thing
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
That's to be the end of this.
oh, you'd have a team of lawyers at your house in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never say. Oh, I had Paul Bear on in the early days of my wrestling show. They never say anything about it, but maybe it flew
Oh,
under the
really?
radar. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I used to do a good Paul Bear, but I can't do it anymore. My voice is shot from that. But yeah, he was a good guest. He was very funny. He said a very inappropriate joke that I shouldn't repeat anymore. But back in 2005, you could get away with it. And he didn't mean anything by it for anyone out there.
He always seemed like a really cool cat. Like he
Yeah,
always
he-
seemed like a
He
really
was. He was just a really neat guy. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and I always thought he's perfect for the show because like you could talk about serious wrestling, but he also had no problem being silly and just having a good time. So
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because the
Kind of like
stories
Bobby
he'd have.
Heenan too.
Oh,
was
Yeah,
like,
Bobby.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool to talk to Bobby.
What were you about to say, sir?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, like, the stories, could you imagine what Bear would have? Like, because, like, the stories he'd have, because he ran with them all. Like, wherever,
Yeah.
you know, wherever they went, like him, Taker, like, wow, unbelievable.
Yeah. And then, like, even before WWE, when he's
Yes.
like Von Erichs.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I think didn't he have some great Florida stories from when he was Percy Pringle and stuff?
Yeah, he was really open on the
Those
show.
guys were just great. I love the old time wrestlers that'll tell you stories for hours.
It's bonkers, eh?
It is,
Yeah.
and it's crazy.
I know it's a healthier lifestyle today, but it does not make as fun interviews.
Things aren't quite as colorful as they used to be.
No.
You don't get the plane rides from hell or anything
Right.
anymore.
You're
not
crazy
gonna get,
car rides. Yeah,
you're not going to get the rat story. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing for the interview, but I'm sure it's a lot better for the people. So I can't.
Yeah, but listening to the story, it's probably better than a Twitter war. Like, you know, this guy sent a mean tweet at me, and boy, did I get him back.
Right.
Like,
so who did you unfollow on Twitter? That'll be it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
I know, right?
Do you have any good troll stories? It's not quite the same, but you know, Dark Side of the Ring will be different, but in the future.
Oh yeah.
Although I guess you could do like multiple seasons just on Vince McMahon. So.
Yeah, you'll have multiple on him. We'll have Chris Jericho narrating his own Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh yeah, yep.
Man.
You watch Dark Side of the Ring?
Oh yeah, I love those.
Yeah,
they hit you right in the heart, eh? Like that Owen Hart one and everything.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
A cheap plug, our interview with Harley Race, they used a bit of it on this season's Harley Race episode.
Oh my goodness, Harley.
That was really neat.
Yeah, I was happy to see that. So where can people follow you to see what you're up to?
Steve McGinnis Horror Illustration. You can find me at Instagram, Facebook, Rise of the Harvester on Facebook. You can find Steve McGinnis Horror Illustration. Like that's my website name. You can find me under that anywhere.
Nice.
And we're looking. I feel bad that I've not read Rise of the Harvester, but you sold it. You sold me on it, and I'm not just saying that. Actually, really into the idea, so I'm going to check this out.
Right on.
I'm a little envious when you told me about 2 pages of 9 panels per day. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I try and crank them out. Like when, you know, because especially with Terrifier, I had to get that out. And I worked it out to like 1 minute of dialogue works out to 1 page. Like 1 minute of movie works out to 1 page. So, and Terrifier is pretty long. So I think it worked out to almost like 200 pages. So it was, yeah.
That's impressive. That's like Jack Davis numbers. That's really good.
It was quite a feat, and I had to do other stuff with that too. Like, so yeah, it was something else.
So I'm looking forward to checking that out. I'm also going to check out. I know you're not involved in the Horde, but I'm going to check that out. Oh, and Troy, you weren't here, but he had mentioned one of his probably his favorite zombie movie is Train to Busan, which
oh, awesome. There you go. See, we knew there was a little kinship there. That's all.
And what's
If
the
you-
name of the prequel you like, Troy? The animated one.
Oh, Neil's putting me on the spot. It's
I'll cheat and look it up.
yeah, something station, Soul Station, and it's
Really?
a prequel to it. It's brilliant. It's so good,
Ooh.
and it even has this brilliant swerve to it that you don't see coming. That's all I'll
Oh.
tell you. I don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah, you're right.
Nice.
Soul
And the
Station.
animation's so good. So
I have
good.
to check this out.
Loving
Okay,
it.
thanks.
Oh yeah,
And
the
if-
animation is good. I've not
Yeah.
seen it.
Stay
I
away
haven't-
from the sequel to Train to Busan. I didn't care for that one, but
Oh, really?
the prequel's
Yeah, I wasn't
great.
real
The
big either
prequel's
in
great.
it.
I know The Horde is on YouTube right now. It used to be on Tubi.
Okay.
But yeah, check it out. It's French horror film. It almost starts like The Raid, where police are going in to get guys and everything. I'm not going to tell you too much more. And then an apocalypse breaks out. So it's like,
Oh, I'm down. I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
yeah, it's really good.
All right,
This
sweet.
is from Soul Station.
Ooh, look at that.
Those look really cool.
Yeah, I think you
love
guys will
that.
both like it.
Oh, I'm checking that out tonight.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Awesome.
Here's some art from Steve here. Some Terrifier art.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, those are some of
awesome.
the books. Probably book 2. They come to me blank, the sketch covers, and
oh, I love them.
I painted those on for sketch covers.
Oh wow,
Very
they look
nice.
wild.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
loving them.
so it would have been book 2, and then they would come to me blank, and then people would order them, or I'd just paint them on, and then people would grab them at shows.
Oh, okay. I love
Yeah, I
them.
like doing sketch covers.
Yep. Those are great.
Yeah, Adam loves Soul Station. Adam Freeman here, Troy. So you're not alone.
Oh man, I got to see that.
Troy's only been telling me for years about it, so I'll get around. All right. Well, this has been great talking to you, Steve, and
Yeah.
look forward to more
Yeah,
work.
come
and we'll
back
have you
anytime.
on.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Hal Havins from Night of the Demons and
Ooh.
Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama. I guess
Oh,
that's
That's a
right.
tough one
Very
to
long
say.
name. Yeah. And Steve will get a picture of some Night of the Demons at some time.
I shall.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye. All right. We're going to go to a quick break. I'm going to grab a drink, and then I'll be right back.
All right. I'll go refill my coffee.
All right.
At least the internet came back on for me. That sucked. I just got on, and then
went off.
boom,
I'm going to
I
play
don't know how long I was on.
a quick video here, and we're right back.
All right.
This is Benny Chapman, the creature from the Black Lagoon, withoutyourhead.com. The Gill Man was not a frightening-looking person. He was just an unusual person.
Mm-hmm.
He was the good guy. They were the bad people.
Right. They're invading
Because-
his home.
That's right. They were in other words, if you went home tonight and you found 10 people having a party in your living room, how would you feel?
Right.
Well, he's sitting there in his lagoon, and here come these people. We played it as, he fell in love with the girl, Beauty and the Beast.
Mhm.
And that's how we tried to play it, and it worked out.
What the suit was made out of, how heavy it was.
It was made of foam. It was actually very comfortable. It was like an outer layer of skin because what they did, I have it like a body stocking on. I would get into it like a leotard, except it closed feet all the way up, and the only thing that was open was my face. And they made a body impression of my body, and then they put this thing over it, and then each piece was done separately, and it was simply glued onto it. And then getting in it would take me 2 to 3 hours to get in because we wanted to make it look like an outer layer of skin without having creases in the wrong places. Of a large lake, it's still there at Universal Studios. A lot of time when they didn't need me, I just go out in the lake and I go swim. I just sort of float around. So Rock Hudson came up to me, why don't we do this? Because Rock and I were good friends. He said, I'll bring people up there, and what you do, you'll try to scare them. I said, sure. He would call the set, then the set would call me and he'd say, Benny, Rock's bringing about 5 or 6 people up here. I go out in the water, and I get out in the middle of the lake, and all you could see would be my eyes and the top of my head. You know, like alligators do?
Right.
See the top of their heads? And he would get the people down by the beach, and then all of a sudden I would leap straight up in the air and go, "Wah!" and just water flying all over with this weird, and the people would just, will have heart attacks. So the studio found out about it, and they told Rock and I to cut it out.
Hi, this is Butch Patrick, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
Were you allowed to watch Terrifier? It's a pretty graphic movie.
I was about 9, 10, so I didn't watch it, but I have seen Terrifier 2 multiple.
Okay. All right.
It's so good. I love it.
Yeah. When you watch a movie you're in, can you see it as a movie, or do you kind of see it like the memories of making the movie?
I see it as the memories making
Yeah.
the movie, because there's just little small things in there that are like, oh, this happened, like the mashed potatoes that were
Yeah.
like smeared on the mom's face and like shoved in her face. A funny story about that is, behind the scenes, it was like really cold in New York and upstate New York. And I was looking at like the craft station with all the food, and I saw these mashed potatoes, and my mom made them for me, and I ate them. And then Damien comes in, he's like, "Where'd the props go?" And we're like, "What?" He's like, "Where did the mashed potatoes go?" Those were the props. And we just look at each other, and we weren't going to tell him, but we finally admitted to it. We ate the mashed potatoes. So now every time I see that, I'm like, ooh, those are the ones I ate. So then Damien had to go get more, but he was sweet about it.
How about, you mentioned David, but what was Damien like the first time you met him?
Damien was so sweet. He was so welcoming, and it was cool the first time I came there. They did like a cast of my face. So that was like a pretty long process, but he talked me through it, and he was always there for like anything I needed. He's such a sweet guy too.
Yeah. You said the makeup like 3 hours to put on and take off. Is it worse getting it put on or having it taken off?
That's a good question. Well, getting it taken off, because they would tease my hair all up, but then they would need to brush it out. So
Right.
that was kind of, that it didn't hurt, but it was like a long process to get all that floof back down.
Yeah.
But it was also kind of hard to like get my makeup done, because I have like, I don't even know what to call it, like these black little like points right under my,
like a clown kind of. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of almost smeared. So we had to take like, not alcohol, it was like some sort of alcohol substance, and like spray it and make it kind of like smear down my face, which was kind of funny because I like breathed it in. It was like alcohol. But yeah, I think both of the processes of putting it on and off were about the same, difficult.
All right, back. I didn't realize that would just show us over in the corners.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. So while
Okay.
while I show those, I was also I was putting out like links for the show and stuff. So you could see me just looking off and looking like a weirdo probably in the corner. But that's all right. We are back, and we will be joined here momentarily with Hal Havins. That's going to be a good time. It was cool having Steve McGinnis on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of so Annabelle couldn't be on tonight. Hopefully she'll be here next week. We may be moving the show till 8. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure out. But next weekend, Troy, In a Violent Nature opens, which I'm really looking forward to.
That one looks good to me too.
I've been wanting to see this. We missed it at Boston Underground Film Festival, and I thought maybe I just wouldn't be able to see it in the theater. I was upset, but it's open. I think it's getting a fairly wide release. I don't think it's open at every theater, but it's playing at multiple ones in Boston. It's playing in Kingston near us. So check out. I know they have a website and it lists all the different theaters they're playing at, and it's playing at quite a few. So help support independent horror. People like, we don't have enough of remakes and reboots. Where's the original ideas? Here's the original idea.
Here it is.
Yeah, so go out and see it, because if you go see it, then they'll release more of them at the theater.
And I think it's even like not just a one night only thing, right? It's
No, yeah,
like a week long thing.
And for so if you just see the trailer, you might think, oh, it looks kind of like a Friday the 13th, idea, which it is. But the big twist is it's told through the eyes of the killer.
Yeah, I think this one looks cool to me. I really like it. He seems really kind of feral, maybe,
Yeah,
like
it seems super brutal.
Yeah.
I know they put this stuff out there like these people are getting sick, throwing up, and I know they've said that about people who went to see Terrifier and stuff, but that they're saying this about this movie that people have gone to see it and they've puked. So I doubt that will happen with us, but
you never know.
no, that's true.
I don't think I've ever puked at a movie.
No, I never have either. We got Christopher Outridge here who will be on the show soon. He'll be on the show next month talking about his new movie. That'll be fun. They've got a crowdfunder up currently. I think that's in the group. I'll put it up on the website too so people can check that out. Original ideas. Yeah, see,
Always a good thing.
I do think people fixate on the reboots, and they do make a lot of them. But there are a lot of cool movies that come out every week, so go out there and watch them.
Yeah, and sometimes like the reboots and stuff. Sometimes it'll get a brand new audience into it.
True.
So that's always good.
Yeah.
Sometimes good things come from that.
I will say this: I'm a guy who's always trying to find okay, if it wasn't for reboots and remakes, we wouldn't have had John Carpenter's The Thing.
Good point.
Wouldn't have The Fly that a lot of people love from the 80s. Cape Fear. There's a lot of good.
Oh yeah, yep, good call.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yep.
But so I went to see The Strangers Part 1, and this is exactly, to me, the kind of thing that you why do we get these remakes? Because it did absolutely nothing new.
So you don't like to hear that.
Same exact movie. It answered no questions if you saw the first movie. There's no why they're doing this. Here's a spoiler, but they give the spoiler right in the trailer. They do the big line, and it's in the movie. And I didn't understand. But forget all that, Troy, because we're gonna get Hal Havins on here.
All right.
Let me switch this over. All right.
How's it going?
Hello. And we're joined by Hal Havins from all kinds of cool stuff. Night of the Demons. Slimeball. Oh my God! I said it right earlier, but this is
Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama.
Exactly. It's but
that title won somebody a case of beer.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. Originally it was called The Imp.
Okay.
And the owner of the company didn't like that title, and so he made a contest. He said, whoever comes up with the best title, at his business, they win a case of beer. And one of them came up with Slimeball.
I think. Yeah.
Huh?
It's a well-deserved case of beer.
Yes, it is.
It's a much more memorable name than the Imp.
But let's face it, it's a horrible title.
It's really a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah, you remember it though. So
exactly. That's true.
Exactly.
So we got Troy and we've got Nasty Neal.
Yeah, Annabelle cannot be here tonight, unfortunately.
Oh,
she wanted to say hello.
So, no, I feel bad.
Yeah. So when you got the script, what was the name for it?
Which script?
For Imp.
Slimeball?
For Slimeball. Yeah.
It was called The Imp. IMP.
Oh, okay.
Impers, they're like genies.
When did you find out they changed the name? Were you still making the movie, or was it when it came out?
I found out they changed the name when they put it out.
Oh.
And I was embarrassed, so I did not put it on my resume. I just put it as The Imp.
Uh-huh.
And Linnea Quigley came back from a trip to London, and she said it had been the #1 home video rental for the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
So I went home and I changed the title on the resume.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Gotta let people know about Sorority Babes and Slimeball.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, though, so you didn't know, this is doing well, at the time. Did you always know that, Night of the Demons had a following? When did you realize, these movies really have, a big following?
I mean, Night of the Demons, yeah. I mean, I guess so, because everybody was doing shows. I wasn't doing conventions because I didn't like the idea. I was uncomfortable with it. So for like 20 years, I said no.
Oh.
But yes, I knew it. It had a following. It got me a pile of free French fries. Every time I went through the Carl's Jr. near my house, there were horror fans. And there'd always be a bag of French fries put in there.
That's
I
awesome.
like this. So free beer for Sorority Babes, whoever came up with that, and for yourself,
Exactly.
the Demons was free French fries.
That's right. You got to grub somehow.
What were you uncomfortable with? Just like the idea of like
I didn't like the title. I thought it was, really cheesy, and I mean, because that's what was going on at the time was cheesy schlock horror,
Yeah.
And I knew that's what it was. It's like I knew what we were doing, but the title just went too far for me. It really did. And now over time I've gotten used to it. I think it's actually a good title.
Yeah,
I joke around about it, but I
it's
think
a fun one.
Pretty clever title.
Yeah. Adam says that he was obsessed with Sorority Babes growing up. I assume he means the movie, or maybe just means Sorority Babes.
Yeah, just in general.
Maybe just the babes. I mean, they were fairly attractive. They looked pretty good. Michelle and Brink and Linnea and Robin. They were all pretty gorgeous.
Which movie did you film first? Because they come, I think they come out the same year.
Demons first. I did Demons first because Linnea actually recommended me for Slimeball.
Oh, okay.
So they called up and they said, Linnea says you're pretty good, so come over, and went over and talked to him and had lunch. And when we were done with lunch, they were like, "Hey, you want to be in the movie?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." So it worked out pretty easy.
Did you keep in touch with Linnea over the years, or was it more like
I talk to her every now and again? I talked to her just the other day because we're doing some conventions together this year, and so I got to chat with her a little bit the other day. But I try to, anytime I get a chance to, I'll talk to any of them because I love them. They're like family. We were all kind of young, and we were like a little gang doing this thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we all got to like each other a lot. And so anytime I get a chance to see him or talk to him, I always take the stab at it.
Linnea's great. She adopted Troy and I one show as their siblings because she didn't have. She was an only child, and so she decided it would be nice if.
Well, now she's not anymore. How fucking cool is that?
Yeah. Good bragging for me, but yeah.
She's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful.
I like her.
Yeah, she's
so
cool.
much fun.
Yeah. So, Night of the Demons is a genuinely really good movie. It's filmed really well. The effects, I think, are
shot
great.
Beautifully.
Yeah,
it really is. David Lewis was the cameraman. He's the DP, and he also operated. Man, he was fantastic. The first time I got on set, they dropped me off on this street on the sidewalk, and I didn't know what was going on, so I just stood still. And I saw this guy crouching behind the car, holding on to a 35 millimeter camera. And I thought, well, maybe they're shooting somewhere and I should duck. And I hear action, and he gets up, walks across the sidewalk, down around the car, off the curb, does this whole shot where he goes across the street, handheld with a 35 millimeter camera. I think they're like 65 pounds. They're huge.
Oh.
And that was David Lewis. That's how I met David Lewis. He was doing this.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how long it was. It had to be close to 200 feet. It was an amazing shot.
Wow.
No tracking. You see it in the film, and it's beautiful. It's smooth. The guy was amazing.
Yeah, it's like great shots, like with the shattered mirror, and you're seeing everyone's reflection in it. Like this,
the mirror
really
was a very cool shot, wasn't it? I like that.
Yeah.
I think that was just Kevin like trying to come up with something different. And he did. And, really, it was pretty easy. It looks like it was a really hard shot to do.
Oh, yeah.
But once he figured out all the angles for us, that took a while. But we didn't have to do it. It was just like, once Kevin figured it out, I think we did it in like 2 takes, maybe 3 takes. It was quick.
Oh, wow.
I think like today, they would do that same shot today, it'd be like, they would do it digitally, I think, put everyone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you would. I mean, it would just be easier to get that many people to coordinate exact movement because the mirror pieces weren't very big. They were only like, 4 inches or so. So you had to get perfectly into it or you were out of the shot. And it wasn't just get in front of the mirror. It was get in the proper angle for the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was cool. It was a beautiful shot. It was awesome to do.
And this might be a silly question because there's later also a shattered mirror. Was there anyone on set like, like, oh, this is bad luck having broken mirror?
Oh, everybody said that.
Okay.
Everybody's like, "You're gonna break a mirror? What is wrong with you?" We're in a haunted house. Everybody was creeped out in the house. Nobody.
Oh
liked
yeah.
it. And the funny thing, it was a beautiful home. It was absolutely gorgeous, and they knew they were going to tear it down, so they let the art department go in and just distress it. They did all that distressing. They made it look that way, but it was a gorgeous. What do they call those things? Craftsman homes.
Yeah.
Anyways, beautiful 2-story house, and they trashed it, and everybody was afraid of it. Everybody was creeped out. When you went upstairs, it was the worst. All our dressing rooms were upstairs. They were old bedrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't go in there because the lights were always off to shoot. They always turned out the lights, and it was cold, and it was black, pitch black. So nobody ever went in their dressing rooms. We got dressed wherever we could get dressed, and then we would hang out in this like patio area. And that's one of the reasons we got so close, I think, is we all just sat there and talked all day, and 2 of us would get up, go shoot, come back, everybody be chatting, 2 more would go shoot. And that's the way it went for, I don't know, weeks. I don't remember how long it took.
Did you also all stay in the house, or did you
No,
else?
No, it was in LA. So everybody just stayed at home.
Yeah. But how long of a day shoot were they?
It depends, like the burn makeup. When I got the burn makeup done, it was 11 and a half hours just to do the makeup.
Ouch.
And then had to shoot on top of it. So I think that was a 23-hour day. I got close to 24 hours.
Had you ever
that
done
was awesome. Everybody's are you okay with the makeup? Hell yeah, I'm okay with the makeup. Don't you get paid to sit in the chair? It's crazy. But yeah, I love it. In fact, they came up when we first sat down. They sent a PA up, and they're like, this is going to be really hard. This is going to be difficult. So the producers thought it'd be a good idea to get you a drink, some liquor. And I was like, well, there's only one liquor. Bring a bottle of Jack Daniels. I finished that bottle. Admittedly, I shared it with people, but I finished it and was sober by the time we shot. That's how long it was.
Wow.
And I was a little disappointed because shooting that scene, I was just like, man, it'd be way better if I was drunk.
Which is worse? So so you're sitting there getting the makeup on, but you said it wasn't a bad time. But
I don't mind the makeup at all. Everybody does. I don't. You know what I hate though? Blood, the fake blood.
Oh.
There's something weird about it that it's made out of Caro syrup, and it's sticky. Mm-hmm. And it's thick, and it gets on you, and it feels like it's cold and weird and nasty. But then it starts to feel like blood, like you're actually bleeding from something. Oh. And it's there's this weird psychological thing that goes on. And you start to convince yourself it's real, and it's absolutely disgusting. I hate it.
Is it hard to wash off?
If tomorrow they said, "Yeah, we're shooting, but we're going to pour a bucket of blood on your head," I'd be like, "Okay, let's do it."
I'll be there.
Yeah. I'm there.
Was any of the makeup hard to get off?
Makeup is very difficult to get off. And the thing is with me, that's the only problem I had with it, because when they take it off, they use a solvent, to get the glue. And they were using these little paint brushes. They were tiny, and they were like bristly. So about the 4th or 5th day, my face hurt so bad when they were doing that. I was begging them to let me go home with the makeup on. I was like, I'll be careful. I won't mess it up. And because it was... I can't remember. There's 2 kinds. There's silicone and something else, and they both die. They don't last more than 12 hours. So
they just dry out, that kind of thing.
Well, the silicone melts. It looks better because it looks more like skin, because you can see into it a little bit. And the latex, that's the other one. The latex, it doesn't really melt, but it just kind of loses its elasticity and falls apart, kind of.
Oh, okay.
So. They take it off with these little brushes, and my God, that hurt. It was like getting a tattoo over your entire face every day. And that's the only part that bothered me. It was a little painful to get rid of it, but I loved having the makeup on.
Yeah,
it felt good to me, because it's not constrictive, because it's like stuck to every part of your skin, so it really becomes like a second skin. It's like wearing a wetsuit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On the commentary, you mentioned you were hoping that you actually got to do the fire scene.
How am I supposed to remember what the fuck I said in the commentary?
Well, you don't need to remember it, but I heard you saying that, like, you actually
and with
thought,
commentary.
yeah, that you wanted to do.
I wanted to do. I wanted
Man
to
on
do
Fire.
the fire. I was actually talking to somebody about that the other day. I was like, man, I can't wait, because I had actually taken stunt classes before I came to LA. I studied with some old stunt guy that he had. I'm not shitting you. He had one hand and one leg.
I'm not sure if that's a ringing endorsement. Like,
I don't know.
I was like, this
That
makes you
might
the
not be
professor.
your mentor you want. Yeah.
But he was really good, and I learned a lot. It was great, and so I wanted to do the burn, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Kevin, they were talking about it. I said, man, I can't wait. This is gonna be awesome. I really want to do this. It's gonna be wonderful. And he looks at me and he basically said, "Are you fucking stupid? I want to finish my movie. I'm not gonna light you on fire." And I understood immediately. And actually, I had the same stuntman for like 5 projects. He became kind of my guy. His name was Paul Short. And he's retired now because he used to get hurt for a living, and I didn't. So I'm going back to work.
Yeah. It's great. I know it's safer today to not actually light the people on fire, but there's something that's really fun to see someone on fire in a movie running around. That's just
I hate the effects fire. You know, sometimes you see it and it's beautiful, but I imagine it takes so long to create it well that most of the time you see it and it's crappy.
Yeah, it just looks so
I just
bogus.
can't stand it.
That and blood spatter are usually the two things that are normally don't work, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But the one thing I like that people are doing now, they're doing it maybe a little bit too much, but I love it, is when blood spatter happens and it hits the camera lens.
Yeah, now that's
it's always digital, but it's like so cool because it really comes at you.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. I thought that was a great idea, but it's been so overused now. It's like it's kind of done.
Yeah. Did you get to do stunt work in any of the movies?
In a lot of stuff, yeah, I did stunt work. Did fights and falls and window crashes and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I anytime I got a chance to do something physical, I did it. I didn't look very physical, but I was a boxer and I played baseball and football and all kinds of stuff. And so I could land, I could bounce off of stuff. But once you hit a certain age, you don't bounce anymore. You just lawn dart. It's like Velcro. You just stick and it hurts.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you bounce. And so you can like bounce off of anything and not care. But yeah, I did a lot of stunt work. I liked it.
From having stunt people on the show, like Bob Elmore and stuff, they say it's not so much like one fall that hurts you; it's the constant bumping, which causes damage to.
But also the thing about stunts is too, especially if they're a big stunt, you're gonna get hurt.
Oh yeah.
The idea is to minimize how much you get hurt. Yep.
Yeah.
And like I did a window crash. It's funny because I was doing this film with Kelly Martin, and they asked me if I'd ever done stunts. And they asked me if I could do a window crash. And I lied and said, of course I have. And I told them Kevin Tinney's story. Kevin Tinney was making a film when he was a teenager with, his neighborhood friends. And they were going to do a window crash through, how like back doors will have that little window, like laundry rooms, will have a small window. So they put a bunch of jackets on this kid. And he goes running at it head first, crashes through it, and then gets stuck in the middle. So I told that story. I was like, that was great. It was so fun, blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, okay, I guess you can do it. I ended up doing it. One of those window crashes where they blow the safety glass, like Alvin did in the film. Only it wasn't Alvin, it was a stunt double.
Yeah. But
when he goes through the window, they explode it at the bottom. Because if you hit safety glass, you're not breaking it. You're just bouncing your head off of it. So when you fly through the air and you crash into that stuff, you're going to break something. So they explode it. They put little charges on the bottom of it and blow it up. And then that's how it shatters. And it's really fun, actually.
Well, so when you went to go on, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, in fact, I did that window crash. I went through and it rolled over and started screaming because I got shot. and I ran out and jumped out the window, and I rolled over and started screaming. And all of a sudden, the stunt coordinator was like, "Cut, cut, cut!" And he runs over because he thought I was actually hurt.
Oh,
and I was like, "That's acting." Hey, shut up.
So, when you said you went to stunt school, like, was that your plan to be a stunt man, or were you already acting?
No, I just thought, it'd be a good thing because I knew I wanted to go to LA, and I thought it would be a good thing to just kind of have that in your back pocket, have that on your resume,
Yeah.
And and it worked out. I mean, I actually never put it on my resume, but everybody knew that I would run into him. They'll always ask you, can you do this? Can you do that? Unless it's something big, and then they use a professional. Because again, it always comes down to they want to finish their shoot, so they don't want to break the actor.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in a hospital, they're screwed. So even if you don't have a huge part, if you only get 5 lines out of your 15 lines, they're screwed. So they don't let you do the big stuff, but all the small stuff, fights, window stuff, and low falls, they let you do all that kind of stuff.
And it's good advice.
Stuff.
Good advice to someone. Just lie and say, "Yeah, I've done that before."
No, it's a bad idea.
All right.
But the thing is, I knew I could do it because I'd done so many. I'd done like car rolls and low falls, like 2-story low falls and stuff like that. So I knew I could get through a window pretty easily. So I wasn't that worried about it, and so that's why I felt comfortable lying about it. Yeah. And the next time I talked about it, it was true. So
all right.
Because when Neil was talking about Bob Elmore, when he was telling us a story when he first started doing stunts, it was in a Western, and I think he was the stunt man for like John Wayne because he was a big guy. Wow. And they had asked him about doing this horseback stunt and like, "Oh, do you have, your own harness?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm all set." And he had no idea. He just kind of made it up as he went along and ended up like breaking his leg. But he didn't tell anyone.
A lot of people do that. Horses can be risky business.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
Even if you know how to ride, they're risky. Yeah. If they get in a bad mood, if they decide to hurt you, you're hurt. They're just too big, It was funny though, because I did Western, I did like 2 Westerns, I think, and I auditioned for a bunch, and I couldn't ride at the time.
Oh.
And then when I was about 28 or 29, I started buying horses. Because I did a Western. I did this Western. I was scared to death of horses, and I was playing this little stable boy. And I walk up there, and there's a corral with maybe 15 horses in it. Looked like 200. And the director goes, "Okay, so you're going to be in the middle of the corral there. Are you going to move the horses first? What the?" And they're like, no, you're going to be there. So I'm hanging out basically with the lead horse all day in this pile. And that lead horse was so smart and kind. And the star would walk up and kiss for his horse to come. And the horse was supposed to go to him. And the horse didn't go to him. It was hanging out with me. So I started just touching it on the hip, just a light touch on the hip. Every time he kissed for the horse, and the horse would go over there.
Oh, wow.
And the horse was so sweet and cooperative. And then when they were done, the horse would walk back to me.
That's awesome.
And by the time we were done, I loved horses. And my wife, she had ridden all her life when she was young. So I got back and I was like, "You want a horse for Christmas, baby?" And that started an addiction. And I ended up at the ranch where I was raising paints and quarters.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was great.
Well, I heard the dog earlier. So do you still have like a lot of animals?
I don't have any. I have 2 dogs, and that's it. But I sold the ranch. I don't know, a while back, several years ago.
Linnea's a big animal person, I'm sure, as you know. And
she's got. I think she's caring for 14 dogs and I don't know 212 cats. I don't know. I was talking to her the other day about it, and it's like she works hard for those animals.
Oh,
really.
yeah.
And but it's a great thing, she's rescuing a lot of animals and giving them.
I think that says a lot about a person if they're kind.
Yeah. If you don't like fur, then there's something wrong with it.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So for the Stooges look, not so much the pig nose. I'm sure that wasn't. Maybe it was yours. I don't know. But how much did you have the hair at the time, or the
No,
clothes?
actually, it was the punk rock hair era, and one of the stars of the punk rock hair was a stylist named Attila in Beverly Hills. So they took me to this guy, and the design, you can't see it because I don't do it in the film. It was actually a mohawk, and it was like 10 inches long because I had long hair at the time. And so he cut everything down in this huge mohawk, and he puts it in, and I can't even get in the car when I was done because it was like bending over.
Right.
And literally, I started driving out. I was on Sunset Boulevard, started driving out of Beverly Hills, and these two motorcycle cops were coming the other direction, and they turned around and got right behind me. They saw that head. They followed me all the way out of Beverly Hills, and then they stopped. And I was like, oh, shit. And people were staring everywhere I went, so I just took to wearing a hat. And I didn't spike it up for the film, partly because of that, but the main reason is because it would just be too hard to keep it up.
Yeah.
You'd be constantly spraying it and trying to push it back up again. So I thought, well, I'll just let it go straight back.
Yeah. Did you keep that hair at all, after the movie?
No, because the next film I did was Slimeball.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it it was pretty quick. We didn't have that much time. And if you watch it, Slimeball, you'll see that my head's almost shaved on the side.
Yeah. Because
the dye had gotten into my skin. So as the hair was growing out, it was still the same colors. And so I basically had to just keep shaving it until, I got some blonde hair back, which I wish I could do now.
Yeah. No, you have a perfect look now for the Westerns, I think.
Oh,
yeah, I do, right? So I got to get back to work. It's time that I get back to work. I took a lot of time off. And I don't know, a few months ago, I started waking up again, getting that urge.
Was there any reason you stopped acting?
Yeah. My wife passed away.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
And we were together for 38 years. I met her when I was 21. And I just kind of shut down. I didn't handle it very well.
Yeah, I understand.
And I just shut down. I closed the door. I didn't leave the house. And half years later, I started to wake up. So.
I think it would. People would love to see you and stuff, especially I know you're doing some conventions and you can meet some people who are making independent movies or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it'd be fun, a cameo or a bigger role.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
It's time I get back to it. And I've talked to some friends because I left LA too. I just left.
Oh, okay.
But I've talked to a couple friends back in town, and I don't know. It seems like there's a warm welcome for me that I can come back and things will be okay. So, fingers crossed. I hope I can get it together pretty soon. Do it.
Yeah, we'd love to see that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
If I knew anyone, I would put. I knew of some people, but I'll put your name out there. I'll just tell them Nasty Neal knows you. It will do you no good at all. No. So, how about the jack-o'-lantern underwear you're wearing in the Demon?
Yeah, nice, huh? I like that.
Yeah,
I love
like
that stuff. Kevin actually asked me to do it bare ass.
Oh, really?
And I said, you can't afford that. And then I said, and they took all this time to make this pretty underwear. So we're going to do it that way. But yeah, he's like, I don't know why. I got asked to show my butt in, 3 or 4 things. And it was always the same line. You can't afford it. You don't have the money. Don't worry about it.
Well, there's still time. There's still time.
I think people like fat butts. Well, shit. Now I'm 63 years old. You don't want to see this ass anymore. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I broke all the mirrors in the house in half, so I don't have to see anything below my neck.
Has anyone had brought you jack-o'-lantern underwear to sign?
No, but I would.
They should. That would be great.
I agree. I think if you had a couple there on the table would be pretty fun.
People usually bring really cool stuff to sign. You know what I mean? They'll make artwork of some kind or another.
Oh yeah.
Some of it's just outrageous. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then Pig Nose is about the strangest thing I signed. Yeah, pig noses. People like them. They want Stooge pig noses.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though.
So what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
That's part of the fun is stupid stuff, you know?
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually
You
kind
don't
of
have to
enjoy
tell
the
me
conventions. It took me a long time. I was really uncomfortable with the idea. And then I actually did a charity event for Kevin Tenney.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't so bad. I don't like crowds. I don't like to be around that many people.
Yeah.
And that's why I avoided it, you know, the main reason. And I did this thing for Kevin. It was kind of nice, you know. It was fun to meet fans, and I enjoyed it. So then I started doing conventions, and I got more and more into it. And I try to do more and more interesting stuff, you know. And I've had like original artwork created to use instead of just pictures from films.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. And I'm thinking about there's somebody that sells Stooge dresses.
Really?
They're dresses with Stooge's demon face going all the way down.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, well, man, I'm going to buy a couple of those and take them to the show. See if anybody's got the nerve to wear them.
Yeah.
I might even just give them away.
You could have a raffle. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. You
could have fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was pretty weird. But I like to do, you know, I want to do different stuff, you know, instead of just sitting there with the first show I did, I shit you not. I had one headshot that was kind of blurry of Stooge in the demon makeup. And that was it. That was all what was on the table. One stack of pictures. And I see everybody else who had all this nice stuff going on. I was like, you know, I got to improve this.
Yeah.
So over time, I think I've built up pretty good.
Sweet. Yeah. I actually, I before the show, I make little 8-bit art like old Nintendo graphics, and actually made you as
oh shit!
I love that deal.
How come I have no teeth? What happened to the teeth?
Well, you actually have 2 fangs there.
Oh,
you have
fangs.
I do. These
That's
are
funny as
legit
hell. I love that
8-bit,
thing.
so it's very, very little. I have very little room to make stuff, but I'll send it to you after. The show.
You guys, what? You gonna send it?
Yeah, I'll send it to you after the show.
Yeah, please. That's awesome. I love that thing.
Well, I'm glad you like. I wasn't going to show it to you, but since you mentioned that, I was like, I think I'm going to show it. Yeah.
Nah, you kidding me? I'm gonna turn it into a little mini poster.
That'd be sweet. So, what was Kincaid like when you're making the movie?
Amelia?
Amelia.
She is one of my favorite people on the face of the earth.
Oh, okay.
Another big animal person
it.
Too.
When you know, I'll just tell you the story. We hadn't talked in years and years and years. And when my wife passed away, she called me almost immediately. And it didn't matter how long I needed to talk, 2 or 3 times a week, she would sit there for hours with me talking.
That's good.
I will never forget how kind she is, you know? So, yeah, she's like one of my favorite people on the face of the earth.
That's really good to hear. And she's another big animal lover. And
she's an animal talker.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it seems weird, but I shit you not, man. There's something going on there. You put a gerbil in her hand, and all of a sudden, this gerbil knows Shakespeare.
It's a gerbil whisperer.
Amazing. No, but I mean, it's legit. It's amazing. There's something really going on there.
And she shared the show out today. I was like, oh, this is really cool of her to do. Like, I didn't ask her anything, and so
did she?
I thought that was very nice of her. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, she's a very nice person. She really is. I tell you, she's very kind.
Yeah, I'd met her once. I hosted a Scream Queens panel, and she was one of the people on. It was her, Linnea. Mark Patton, who had kind of fun being the male Scream Queen.
Yeah. He's got that book.
Yep.
Yeah. It was before the book came out. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he was a good guy.
Super sweet
too.
guy though, like great.
I'm
guy.
pretty sure. I'm not guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure that Linnea was the one that they originated the term Scream Queen about.
I think you might be right.
I think she was the first one they called a Scream Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, well, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, please. That was 10 years later. You know? So I'm
she doesn't really even do a lot of screaming, I don't think, Jamie Lee Curtis, you know.
Huh?
I don't even remember her doing a lot of screaming.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she did a lot of fighting, right?
Yeah, a lot of
more like the final girl kind of idea.
Yeah, kicking ass person, you know, like
Exactly. Yeah.
Nick wants to know, would you do another Night of the Demons movie?
Yeah, but I couldn't play Stooge again. You know, that would be the only disappointing part. But yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat. You know, I really love that film. You know,
Yeah,
it was really important to me. It was literally like my second job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
It was my first lead, and you know, I just like it's great memories for me. So I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Also, you know, I'm a whore, so I'll do anything.
I like the honesty there. Yeah,
that's part of your job. Is you know,
yeah,
instead
it's
of
a
walking
win-win.
the street, you're walking the couch.
Well, I was gonna say it not quite that way, but like I like a lot of silly movies I grew up watching and stuff. But Night of the Demons is like, as I said earlier, it's a genuinely really good movie too. It's not just like, oh, this is like a fun movie that I remember from the 80s. Like I watch it again now and I'm like, this holds up. The effects are great. Like it's a good movie, and the cast is very likable.
Yeah, there was a lot of good talent and both on and off the camera. There was a lot of good talent, and I really think there's an interesting thing about it because there's so many of us, and every character was different, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So the people I always talk to, there's always someone, you know, because people usually see it when they're young, you know? Mm-hmm. So they attach to it. And there's always someone they can attach to because there's somebody in that cast. Because what was there, 8 of us, 10 of us, whatever it was?
Yeah, I think so.
There's somebody for everybody. You know, and I think that's one of the reasons that it's done so well after, you know, is that people they kind of get hooked on it. And when you talk to the fans, it's like they're serious about it. You know, it means something to them. And I'm grateful for that, you know. I think that's awesome. You know.
I read that you got part of your ear ripped off with the earring, like in the scene with Amelia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the scene where she bites my tongue out. Which, by the way, I'm very proud because I'm convinced I'm the only person that's had their tongue bit out on film twice.
Oh,
so I'm pretty sure. I don't know of anybody else that's done it. But anyway, she had these lace gloves on, and so when she grabbed my head to tear my tongue out, I had this long dangly earring, and it got caught in that lace. And when I fell off, I spun off and fell down.
Oh.
It just popped out. So we go back to makeup to get cleaned up to do another take. And she's wiping blood off and she starts wiping my ear and she's wiping and she finally stops and squeezes and goes, "Oh my God, that's you." Like the inside of my earlobe was hanging out.
Oh.
Damn.
And we had a set medic. And he came in and kind of pushed everything back together. And I was like, "Dude, you got to put the earring back in." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I need the earring. You can't have it disappear." And he's like, "You know, this is gonna hurt." Like, I know. And he took that earring and he shoved it right back in through the scab. Oofa! But there's only one shot in the entire film where I don't have the earring. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. The pain is temporary, but the earring's forever. So
that's exactly what my attitude was.
Continuity.
You know, it's like, this is going to be forever. The rest of my life, I'm going to have to look at this thing and there's going to be an disappearing earring. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
But
and you'll forget about the pain eventually.
We never ended up reshooting the actual bite. So that shot, my reaction when I stand up, it's gone for like, I don't know, like a 5-second shot. So it's not that bad. I don't think anybody notices it.
I'm not sure what this is. Adam says, when I worked with Kathy, she said that Rue McClanahan would come and check on set. Did you ever meet Rue? And if so, how was that?
Yeah, she did come to the set, and yes, I said hi, but I didn't talk to her. Just like, I don't talk on the set a lot. I kind of am always in my own head, you know? So I'm not out there glad-handed people and making friends and stuff. And probably hasn't been great for my career, but it's better for my work, you know? But anyway, yeah, I just saw her and, you know, got a little hello out of it, but, you know, we didn't really sit and chat. You know, the funny part was my wife shows up, you know, and she came to visit and I was really proud, you know?
Yeah.
Doing this film and getting my baby to see it. And my wife was a casting director. And she's been described as legendary. I didn't really know how legendary. She walked onto that set and she knew every single person on it. Everyone. Susan, how you doing? I was so small by the time we're done. It was just like, brr. You know, you had this big moment and it was stolen and snatched away in a heartbeat. But yeah, but that was very cool though, because I was very proud of her.
Oh yeah.
But,
what did you think when you go on, sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna say, what did you think when you saw the finished movie for the first time?
I liked it. We actually went, we saw it in a screening, and then Susan was like, we got to go see it in a theater.
Oh, yeah.
We got to see how people react to it. So we go and watch it in a theater, and the theater is completely packed. And people are laughing and screaming, and I mean, they were really into it. And about 2/3 of the way in, somebody turned around and goes, "That's him," and pointed at me. And that was the end of it for me. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. But yeah, it was. I enjoy the film. I don't watch it because I don't like watching it.
Yeah, I understand.
But nobody does. You know what I mean? But yeah, I enjoy it, and I've sat through screenings since then with people, and it just gets a great reaction. People enjoy it. So,
well, I think both horror movie and comedies are the best movies to watch with a group of people because you can interact with them. And then when you get, both together, it's like a perfect movie, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that horror is very much like comedy in the sense that, when you go to see a comedy, you go, let's go laugh. Let's have some fun tonight. When you go to see a horror film, you go, yeah, let's go scream,
Yeah.
When you go to see a drama, you don't go, let's go cry.
Yeah, let's go. Let's all go cry together.
Drama's like a lot more important to us as an actor. But the simple truth is, it's not quite as important to the audience as
more of a
stuff that they can get involved in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a big reason why the movies, last so long, the horror movies. Because there's a lot of movies, from 30, 40 years ago more, and just like people just forget about them over time. And a lot of these horror movies, people remember forever, and they keep finding new audiences.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, time kills everyone. It's like I teach. I've taught most of my acting career. I've taught. And now I'll use references like Olivier and Marlon Brando. And students look at me like, who are you talking about?
Oh, no.
We know Zac Efron. We have no idea who Marlon Brando is. And it just makes you want to cry. It breaks your heart. But, yeah, it's, that time kills everyone,
Were you a horror movie fan before you did Night of the Demons?
I was not. No, I was a serious actor. I wanted to do drama. By the time I came out here, I'd done like 50 plays. And comedy and drama and Shakespeare, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a serious actor. And what my plan was to go to New York. I wanted to do stage, and I was doing a play, and a friend of mine asked me if I could go to a showcase that she was doing in LA. I was like, yeah, I've never seen a showcase. That'd be cool. So we go. And we get there and into LA, and she's like, do you mind if we stop? I got to talk to my manager really quick. Okay. So she's like, come on in. It might be good for you to meet her. So we walk in, and there I saw the woman of my dreams. And I fell in love with her immediately. And it took me a while, but like 5 years later, we got married. And that's why I stayed in LA, because women. So, but it was pretty awesome. It was funny because the next day I was like, I couldn't get her out of my mind. So I called my friend and I was like, how do I get back there to talk to her again? And she tells me, well, she teaches a commercial class. Oh, hey, can I take your class? Sure, why not? And then I just bugged her. I never left her alone for ages. I mean, it took me probably a year just to break through. But I mean, she was so far out of my league, I didn't know what I was doing anyway. It was like ridiculous. But still, it worked out. So it was cool.
Yeah, that's a very nice story.
That is.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, over the years, did you are you still not necessarily a horror movie fan? Like, do you watch horror movies?
Oh no, I should finish that. Yeah, because when I booked Night of the Demons, I was talking to Susan. I was like, I'm not sure that I want to do a horror film. I don't know if that's where I want to start, And she's like, yes, you do. And the whole conversation, that's really all she said to me was, yes, you do. I'm not sure. No, baby, really, I'm not. Yes, you are. And it was just like, she told me I was going to do it, so I did it. And I had the best time ever. And then, did Slimeball right after. So then I started watching a lot of horror. I mean, I liked horror when I was a kid. Everybody likes horror growing up. Mm-hmm. And I started watching a lot of horror. And, at that time, there was some good horror. There was a lot of it that was schlocky. That was kind of like what was popular was the crazy comedy horrors. But there was a lot of really good stuff being made. And it got better and better over time. And then there was a sad period for a while where everything was PG-13 and kind of sucked. But but there was some good stuff being made, and I just started basically binging horror all the time. And I watched everything I get my hands on, and I became a fan. I like it.
Do you have any standout favorites?
Exorcist.
Yeah, nice. It's hard to beat Exorcist.
That's one of the best films ever made.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's the best horror film ever made, but it's also one of the best films. It's got to be in the top 5 of all time. Mm-hmm. It's just a brilliant piece of work. It really is. And at the time, too, what they were doing was impossible. Like, nobody could do those effects. Nobody. And it took them forever to figure out how to do them. They did them all live. They were all real. And that was the cool thing back then, was when you saw something, you knew it was happening.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And that kind of made it more real for you as an audience member. Now, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
And you still go with it, but it's kind of hard. You know what I mean?
I think even if you can't pinpoint it, a lot of times there's something just, you kind of know in your brain, like the weight's not there. There's just something off about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think even like bad practical effects have a charm to it. Where bad CG
because they're real.
Bad.
They're there. Yeah. No, I agree with you. But I also like Dog Soldier a lot.
That's
or Dog Soldiers, I guess it is. The werewolf thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. I know a lot of people didn't like those costumes. Cool, I thought they were amazing.
Yeah.
They were so cool. But and what's the Australian one with the truck driver?
Wolf Creek?
Yeah, Wolf Creek. Yeah. I didn't see the second one. Because the first one was so creepy. I didn't want it to get screwed up by a bad
Yeah,
and it's based
it's
on
hard to live up
story,
to that one.
So, yeah.
It's based on real?
Yeah, it's based on a real guy. So
I didn't know that.
I don't know how close it is, but yeah, it's based on a real guy.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Those are good choices. And before you got into horror, what were like some of the movies that like made you want to become an actor? They don't have to be horror movies, but
well, they weren't. Everything that James Dean did, I was a huge James Dean fan because I really liked I liked his commitment, the way he just fell into stuff so intensely. I like that intensity. And then Brando, of course, I love Brando. And those guys were all gone by the time I grew up. Those are old films when I was young.
Yeah.
But the work was amazing. And then somehow I started watching Shakespeare.
Nice.
And that was it.
Nothing wrong with that.
And then probably the most important film I ever saw was Helter Skelter, starring Steve Railsback.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep.
I was already acting. I'd been acting for maybe a year or so or less. And I was playing with Stanislavski. Somebody introduced me to that. And so I got his books and started studying and was playing with that. And one day I get home from school and I turn on the TV and there's a guy giving a monologue testifying in court. And it was one of the most intense, truthful things I ever saw in my life. And immediately I understood what I was trying to do. All that stuff I was trying to figure out how to put it together. Watching him, I immediately figured it out. And I became a better actor that second, like by 100%. And It was Steve Railsback doing, and I didn't know what it was. I went to school the next day. I was like, I got to find this film. What is it? And somebody, like, when I described it, said it's got to be Helter Skelter. So I went out and I got the book, and in the book was that testimony verbatim. So I started doing that as a monologue, and I ended up winning several contests that way with that monologue, because it was just a brilliant piece of work. And I know it wasn't a piece of work; it was just him being crazy, but it was cool.
Yep.
And they ended up, my wife, toward the end of her life, became an agent, and she was actually representing Steve Railsback.
Oh, no way.
And I was like, God, I wanted to meet him. I want to meet him so bad. And I never got the chance to meet him, unfortunately. But there was one time she was like, he's in the office. You need to come over. And I couldn't leave. I couldn't come over. But yeah, that guy, he was the one that did it for me. I think everybody has that happen, you know. No matter what you're doing, if you want to be good at it, you get that light bulb moment, you know. So that was mine.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, you guys are like a therapist.
I remember that scene freaked me out when I was a kid watching it. You know, like just kind of blew my mind. It was like,
it was
what the
so
hell
intense, and the way he drove through it, he just drove through it like a freaking train. You know, there was no stopping him. And he didn't really, you know, people doing drama, the pause is the big tool, right? He never really paused.
No.
He just flew through it with such intensity and hate that it was just visceral. It was so cool. The guy's amazing. I'm telling you, he's a killer actor. He's one of the best I've ever seen. But yeah, so anyway, that and Robert Duvall. Anything Robert Duvall ever.
Oh yeah.
Can't go
I
wrong.
ate like chocolate, man. It's stuff. I believed until they made him start doing cowboy movies all the time. He was absolutely America's greatest actor.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
Nobody could touch him. And then they did, you know, once he did Lonesome Dove, they made him just be an old cowboy all the time.
I think he fell in love with the horseback riding, and then it was all over.
It could be, but you know, I mean, the man was just, God, he's good.
Oh, brilliant.
Crazy how good he is.
Yeah.
You look at some of the films he made, you look at Tender Mercies. Oh man. Yeah, I can talk about actors and films all day. I love it. It's my passion. And I never lost the love for that. You know, I just lost the ability, in all honesty, I just lost the ability to be in Hollywood. I just couldn't be there anymore. I had to leave. You know, and so, like I said, I think I'm over that now, so it's cool. And, yeah.
You have a favorite Robert Duvall movie?
Oh, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Nice. Oh, it's one of our. I don't know if you know Troy and I are brothers, but that's one of our mom's favorite movies.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yep.
And books too.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, he's so good in it. You know, it's like when you have to be a lead in a film and you can't talk. Oh, that is like almost impossible.
I can't even imagine how you.
There's another actor, Jeffrey Lewis, who did a film. When Every Day Was the 4th of July, I think it was called. It was a television movie back in the days when television movies were real movies. Mm-hmm. And he was a mute that was on trial, and he did this. He was just as brilliant as Duvall. It was amazing. Jeffrey Lewis is an old-time actor that you've seen in a million things. I mean, you'd know him the moment you saw him. He did a couple hundred jobs probably, but man, in that film he was something. And that's what drew me to Kill a Mockingbird was Duvall. You know, just sitting, he'd stand in those dark areas. You know, they push him back into the shadows, and it's just fuck. It's just so good. That and Apocalypse Now. In fact, that's when I decided he was the best actor in America.
Charlie Don't Surf. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you remember that character, and then a year later, maybe 2 years later, he did a film called The Great Santini.
Oh, I love that movie. That's
on paper, they're the same character. If you think about it, but his performances are completely different. They're different human beings, and you have to be so good to get the same material twice and make them both stand apart and live alone. And that's when I realized this man's the best guy working. There's nobody better. And so, okay, well, that's enough, you know, brown nosing for Duvall.
I would recommend, it's a later movie he did not that long ago, is The Road. And I think he's great in that. Is one of his, you know,
The Road?
recent movie. Yeah. I
don't know The Road.
It's who wrote the book? Something McCormick.
Yeah.
And he just passed away recently. Cormac McCarthy. Cormac McCarthy.
There you go.
So it's a not dystopian future, like a post-apocalyptic movie. And it's about a guy taking his son across the country to where he thinks will be safe. And Robert Duvall he's not in the whole movie, but he's a character that he comes across in the movie. And he's really great in it.
Actually, the whole movie.
That's what I'm going to do tonight. Watch The Road, man.
Yeah,
you'll love
it's not a feel-good movie necessarily, but it's a good movie.
Isn't.
Yeah.
No,
that's the best kind of
really
movie.
Good movie.
I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
And the book's great too. If you ever would get to the book.
Very cool. Very cool. Reading's hard.
Yeah, I listen to
the audio books.
Yeah, I listen to audiobooks. So
no, I read all the time. I love it.
Okay.
In fact, that's one of the things when I teach, I demand my students always read. I don't care what you're reading. There's always got to be a book on your bedside table. You've got to read every single day.
Are you okay with audiobooks? Because I listen to Audible all the time, and I also listen to my public
reading
library.
Does something different though. It does something to your brain physically. It's almost like learning a different language or learning to read music. They both do it. It creates new synapses in your brain. It actually exercises your brain, and so it's really good for you, especially when you get older. So you don't start to become a doddering old fool like me. Where's them keys? What I do with those? Why am I not wearing pants? How did I get in the supermarket? You know, that kind of shit. But yeah, it's really good for you. So I always stress read. And I'm a big fan of authors. Every time I do a convention, I always find the authors and buy a book or two.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite author?
Louis L'Amour.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
It took me years to read all this stuff. I know they're popcorn. I get it.
Oh, yeah. That's
but
okay.
Man, you just devour them like, they're just like eating chips. You just go for them. And it took me years to read every one of his books because he wrote like 160 something.
Is it really that many? Wow.
Yeah. And the last couple I found, actually, oddly enough, it was 30 or 40 years ago. I was up here because I live in Big Bear, California now. It's on a mountain. And I was up here and they had a used bookstore that was a coffee shop.
Oh, I love those.
And I found the last 3 Louis L'Amours that I couldn't find anywhere on their shelf. And I got them for like $1 a piece.
That's the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of Louis L'Amour. I also like McDonald. I think it was James McDonald. He wrote all this series, the Travis McGee books.
Okay.
It was like Girl in the Brown Paper Bag. There was always a color in the title. And Travis McGee is just such an awesome character. I just fell in love with him, and I ended up reading all of those. But there's not many of those. There's only like 10 or 12, something like that. But yeah, reading is awesome. Nice. Most powerful book, speaking of books, is a book called Against All Hope by a writer named oh shit, it was in my head. It'll come back. Anyways, Against All Hope, and this guy was a political prisoner in Cuba, and he wrote about it, and it's the most moving thing I ever read in my life.
Wow.
It was crazy, just heart-wrenching, the whole thing. Armando Oliveras was his name, I believe.
Okay.
And
I'll have to look for that one.
Oh, it's a great book, Against All Hope.
Okay.
And I won't tell you how it ends, but it's a brilliant book. And man, what they did to that guy was just insane. It was horrible. Anyway, off to more happy stuff.
Well, Nick wants to know how is it working on Fear of the Walking Dead?
Loved it because I love Mexico, and we shot down in Mexico, Rosarito Beach. And I went back for several years after we worked there. I went back every 3 months. I would go back to Rosarito Beach. I'd go 4 times a year.
Wow.
And I just love it. It was a beautiful area. We shot on this ranch that was huge. I don't know how long it took us to get from the gate to where the set was, but it was an hour or more of driving on this dirt road. And we never saw the main house. That's how big this ranch was. It was insanely big. And it was just beautiful. Mexico's a beautiful place. And
I remember
yeah,
that.
I loved it. So then they're so professional. You know, they were an amazing tight crew. They'd already been. This was the third season, so they'd already been grinding them out. And in Mexico, they're a little looser. The rules are a little looser, so everything went a little quicker. Everything went a little. I was just like, yeah, it was really cool. I love the studio we were at. It's a huge, interesting studio. They had one of the ships from Pirates of the Caribbean there, parked in the parking lot. It's like,
That's
you just
awesome.
walk up and go, "What is this?" But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. But I wish I could have done more. You know, I actually took a picture, and I thought about making a meme of my costume laying on the floor of the bathroom in my dressing room, because it was just soaked in blood. And I mean, just soaked. And that's the way you know you're fired. Is makeup walks up to you and goes, "We're gonna put a bite on you right about here," and you know it's done, it's over.
That's their subtle way of letting you know.
Yeah, the last scene was a guy feeding on my entrails.
Yeah, pretty much over at that point, I think.
Yeah, you're done. You're going home. But they kept me down there forever and a day too. I did 2 shows, and I think I was down there for 3-4 weeks. It was great.
Oh wow.
Hey. There's a human being walking down the street. And so the dogs must go crazy. I'm sorry, I don't know how to mute this thing, or I would.
Oh, that's all right. We don't mind. Troy, sometimes his dogs will come into the show. So, yeah. What kind of dog?
Got 2 Bichon Frises here and 1 Cairn Terrier. And a Cairn Terrier is like a Toto from Wizard of Oz.
Troy's got 3 dogs. What are they again, Troy? I always forget.
Shiba Inus. I have 3
What?
Shibas. 3 Shiba Inus.
Shiba what?
Inu, they're Japanese dogs.
Shiba
They're
Inu?
Small
I know what
Japanese
you're talking about.
dogs, yeah.
Yes, they're really pretty.
Yeah, the red ones look like foxes almost.
Yeah, exactly.
The
I know
black
the
and
dog you're talking
tan, and they all think they're like 500 pounds, and they rule the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah, I just
than they are
ended up
dogs.
with my dogs. These are not my dogs. I just ended up with them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
the guy that feeds them, you know, and walks them. That's about it.
I got a call from my wife. She was at the office, and she's like, "I'm going to go to the animal shelter with my friend Bettina." I'm like, "No." And she's like, no. We're just going to go down there. She's going to get a dog. No, we were just going to stop, and she's going to pick one up. She already has it picked out. No. And I just kept saying no. And finally, very quietly, she said, "I kind of already did it." And then she came home with my best friend. So, but yeah, in this, the Bichon, I just got thrown at me one day. Somebody's just like, "Can you watch him while I move, and I'll pick him up in 2 weeks?" I think it's been 4 years.
Oh
no!
They actually called me once, and they're like, "I don't know what to do. I should bring him. I got a backyard." I was like, "He's not your dog anymore."
Exactly. Too late for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. This is my dog. You're done. So, but yeah, I like animals. I like anything. I've had, God, every kind of animal you can think of. I don't think everything except for a big cat or a wolf.
Oh.
I was actually going to take in some wolves once, and then I read on how you have to keep them, and I was like, Jesus Lord, that's a lot of work.
No.
You've got to bury your fence like a couple feet under the ground.
Oh,
because the wolf will just pull it up, tear it up. They're so strong. You got to put a roof on their shelter. It's like you're like caging a mass murderer at your property. I was like, that's a little too much for me. I'm probably not responsible enough for that.
You'll have your own Manson in there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. As Sam Kinison said about Manson, "Get back in that hole."
It all goes back to Manson. So.
It does.
Yeah. Well, was that, sir?
Nothing. I was just going to say, we keep circling back to him.
Exactly. Yep. It's always back to Manson. So,
well, you know, he's family.
He is. Yeah, Manson family. Exactly. So
yeah, I know it's pretty weak pun, but
I liked it. It works for me, but I like bad puns or silly puns. I don't say bad puns, but puns work for me. So
cool.
Yeah. Where can people follow you if they're interested to see where you're going? Because I know you have a big Night of the Demons.
Started on Facebook like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, sweet.
So I'm trying to figure out how to use it. I think I'm already boring people. Because the only thing I have to put up is like convention announcements right now. So like every couple of days I put it, hey, and Alvin's going to be there. And then 2 days later, and Kathy's going to be there. I don't really know what to do. But I was told you don't put everything up in one day because people don't like that. It bothers me.
Yeah, spread it out.
So I don't know. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to do is figure out how to make Facebook interesting for me.
Yeah, and that's really cool. A really cool Night of the Demons reunion.
Oh, yeah. That's
What's that?
excellent.
You have a big Night of the Demons reunion coming up.
Yeah, we're actually 2 of them. We've got one in New Jersey, and then later on we've got one in Ohio. So we're doing the New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival and the Ohio TerrorCon. And get your tickets now.
Yep, that sounds
New
awesome.
Jersey is August 9th, 10th, and 11th, I think. And Ohio's the next weekend, so the 16th or something like that. It starts.
Yeah, not too far from Troy and I are in Massachusetts, so not too far off.
We're going to Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in September. Marlboro?
Oh, Marlboro. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Marlboro? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what show that's for?
I should.
Yeah, I'll have to look that myself because we used to have a really big horror convention, Rock and Shock, that ran for years, and then a couple years ago it ended.
Wow.
Well, I'll be fine. I'll dig up the artwork and post it at some point in the next week.
We'll definitely make out for that one.
Oh, cool. I'd love to see you guys there.
Yeah, you as well. That'd be great.
Yeah. But I really enjoy the shows now. They're I don't know, it's just a good way to get out and breathe and see something different. And I love hotel rooms.
All right.
Love hotel rooms with a passion.
What is it about a hotel room?
Everybody that walks into my hotel room goes, have you even been in here? It always looks exactly like it does when I walk in the door. I make the bed every morning. I keep things in the drawers. I always unpack and put everything in the closet. It's like I just love the order, the cleanliness. It's like such a nice break for me because for years I lived on ranches and you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like you're just always covered in dirt.
Yep.
And so I really enjoy hotel rooms. I love them. They're a lot of fun. And also too, they bring you food.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
That.
You know, you just get on the phone and say, bring me food. And they do it.
Yeah.
You're just like, yes, sir.
All right. You don't need to tell them what you want. You just say, bring it.
Yeah, bring it all.
You know, a lot of times I'm not picky. I do that a lot. I'll walk into a restaurant. What do you like? I say, well, what would you like? I say, I don't know, dealer's choice. You tell me what.
There you go. I like that.
It's like, you know what's good here. You work here.
Yeah.
So cut me in on something.
I actually not so much in that way, but I do often ask, like, well, what do you recommend? Because, like you said, they know what's good.
Exactly. But a lot of times I just don't feel like making a choice. You know what I mean? I just don't care and I don't want to make a choice. And let's face it, I almost always exclusively go to Mexican restaurants.
Oh,
so
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing comes out bad.
That's very
yeah,
true.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I live on Mexican food, basically.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. Let's go for tacos. Come on.
I said I'm hungry now.
Yeah, you've got us hungry,
tacos, man. I make tacos out of everything. Are you kidding me?
All right. We'll be over.
God, anything I can put in a little wad, I'll throw it in the tortilla.
Nice.
All right, Troy and I are coming over. So we'll let you go. We had you an hour, but we'd love to do a part 2 sometime. We'll talk about some of the other stuff.
You will. As soon as I get something else going, I'll let you know. Oh, I do have one thing going. I do a blues radio show.
Oh, yeah.
Fridays
I wanted to mention that.
From 5 to 7 Pacific time. KVBB945.com. It streams every Friday. Some of the best blues you're going to hear.
Awesome. I'll include the link on here for people to check that out.
I put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because I had absolutely nothing else to put on.
No, I saw it last night. I was like, this is really interesting. I'm interested in this. I would like to.
I
check
love
this
it.
out.
I love the blues. I'm a big blues fan. And so, yeah, it's called The Red House. The show's The Red House. And if you ever listen to Jimi Hendrix, he does a song called The Red House he wrote, and it is straight traditional blues. And it's the first time I ever heard blues was that song.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was it. I was hooked from then on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play anything? Do you sing or? I know you're hosting this show, but do you also
I
sing?
was
Or?
so close to saying something just vile. Do you play anything? Why, yes, I do. I play guitar poorly.
Fair enough.
So it's just kind of, and everybody, I think I own 9 guitars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And nobody ever sees me play. Like, why don't you ever touch these things? I do. I just don't do it when anybody's around.
Well, as long as you have a good time, that's all that matters.
Exactly. That's all.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of meditative, you know. You really got to focus and kind of get you away from everything else. So yeah, that's
I
why
think
like
you got
acting.
the perfect voice to be hosting a blues show.
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
I'm glad you think so. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I love the blues, and I love the stories of the blues. Like every new artist that comes up, I tell stories about their life, and you know, they were crazy back in the old days.
Oh,
they were like nuts. They're working roadhouses, you know, and they're playing until 5, 6 in the morning. They're playing until the sun comes up, and they're getting shot and stabbed.
Oh, poison.
You know, Dr.
Everything.
John, who was big in the 70s, if you remember him. The reason he was a piano player, he was originally a guitarist. He got his finger shot off.
Oh, I did actually
never knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so he started playing piano. He got the end of his finger shot off. Started playing piano. Ended up killing it, you know.
Yeah.
But he's not the only one. There's a couple of guys that got shot in the hand, and that's rough when you're a guitarist.
Oh yeah, that's kind of unkind.
But yeah, I love these stories. They're good stories. I'll actually tell you one before I go.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Junior Wells, who was a harmonica player, and the best. I mean, literally, when it comes to blues harmonica, there's before Junior Wells and after Junior Wells. He's one of those kind of guys. He started playing when he was a kid, and he wanted a good harmonica, so he goes into a pawn shop and he finds one, and it costs $2. So he goes and he skips school and goes and works on a truck delivering stuff for a week. And the guy was supposed to pay him $2. He didn't. He paid him $1.50. So he goes to the pawn shop with the $1.50 and he's like, "Can I have the harmonica for the $1.50?" And the pawn shop owner's like, "No, it's $2." But he leaves the harmonica sitting in front of him and walks away. So Junior Wells puts the $1.50 on the counter and takes the harmonica and leaves. And the pawn shop owner has him arrested. And they take him to trial. And the judge is like, "Why did you steal a harmonica when it's a 50-cent difference?" He's like, "I had to have it. I just had to have it." He's like, "Can you play it?" He's like, "I can. Well, play it for me." And he plays it for him. And the judge finds him innocent and gives the pawn shop owner 50 cents.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? That's amazing. He was like a little kid when he did this. But yeah, there you go. That's one good blues story for you. But they're all like that. You know, these guys had these, it was a different era where people had these histories that were complex and interesting and dangerous and fun. And yeah, so there's a lot of great stories like that. Anyway, that's what I do.
I love it. I'm very interested in checking this out. And not just because you're here. I actually want to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. Oh, no, California time.
Okay.
8 p.m. Eastern, which is a better time to listen to blues anyway.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
Nice.
But see, I live in a small town.
We win on that one.
So we have to do it early because everybody goes to bed early.
Oh, okay.
You know, I live in a place where the sidewalk rolls up about 8 o'clock. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you having me.
This was a great
so
time talking with you. I had a great time.
I hope to see you in Marlboro.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, we'll make sure Annabelle comes out too.
Yep.
What's that?
We'll bring Annabelle along too.
That
Yeah,
would be
she couldn't make
awesome.
the
Tell her
scene
I'm
today.
sorry I missed her. I have no
Yeah.
idea who she is, but I was looking forward
But
to
you
meeting
will.
her.
Yeah.
You will in September.
Yeah.
All right, very cool.
All right. Thank you so much.
See you, Hal.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
night.
We'll
Talk
see
to
you.
you soon.
I don't know how to turn this thing off. So
Oh, I'll kick you out then.
it's on
I always
you.
feel guilty about doing it, but but you
Don't.
gave me permission. So
Later,
oh,
Gabe.
I think Troy. I think
kicked
Troy
Troy
left.
out.
I
Eat it,
didn't.
Troy.
I think he
Suck
just
on
like
it.
I'm out of here.
Right.
Don't leave me alone with this guy. He's like, all right. So I'll
Troy. What are we gonna do? Troy? What are we gonna let Troy do? Okay. Well, you better get him back so you can wrap out.
All right. I'll see you, Hal. Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much.
You know what? I didn't. Troy has a pet tortoise, and it's named Hal. I forgot to bring that up.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, that's pretty cool.
After Hal Needham, I think the fall guy, because
I used to have a couple red. Hal Needham, yeah, he was huge. There's a story about him too. He was getting a divorce, and he goes to Burt Reynolds' house, and he asked Burt Reynolds, "You mind if I stay here until I find an apartment?" He had a little house in the back, a little guest house. Burt Reynolds was like, "Sure." 11 years later, he moved out. But he also put Burt Reynolds in like 5-6 movies. So
all right, so it worked
it was
out.
a fair
Then,
trade.
yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
You take it easy. Get Troy back before he starts getting mad.
Here. All right. Bye.
All right.
All right. That was great. Hal was awesome. That was a great time. I think you can still hear me. I'm gonna text Troy here. He may have he's a half hour from me, but we had a terrible thunderstorm here earlier, so maybe he lost yes, his power is on, but the internet went out. So I'm just gonna wrap it up myself, I guess. So we'll be back next week with some guests. I don't know them offhand. So go to the Facebook group, join that, and you can find out all the upcoming guests. I actually do remember them. We're going to have the Film Audit 2.0, which is a big festival out in California. We're going to have the guy who runs that on the show. And we're also going to have the women who run Valkyrie Film Festival, which is an all women directed film festival in New York. So we're going to it'll be a independent film festival show next week. And check out all the archives. They're free here. Hit the like button, subscribe, share this out to everybody. Share it out to your friends, your enemies. They'll become your friends. And I'm just lollygagging. Let me start using that term. All right. I'm going to play us out with the music of the month, Valentine Wolfe. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.